Welcome to the program titled It's Erik Nagel, and that is me. 866-969-1969 is the phone number. We'd appreciate if you wanted to call and chat and talk with us. And give a whole bunch of stuff. We got more stuff here to give away. Now, somebody did write to me and said, you have a lot of stuff to give away, but you never tell us when you're going to give it away. So if later in the program, if I'm not doing it, call and ask me. Yeah. And more than times than not, I'm like, yeah, you know what, you get this.
Yeah, and maybe you'll get something when you call, or maybe you'll just remind us nicely and then have to call back and win it again.
Because sometimes we get lost in our own little world here and we forget to do things that we promote that we're doing.
I don't think there's ever been a caller who hasn't gotten something.
Right. Well, there are. That's the ones that we usually hang up on. But
very rare.
Other than that, people usually do get stuff that we have. So we have a lot of stuff, but we'll get to that a little bit. On today's program, before we go around the room and say hi to everybody, it's Jessica Jones Day here on the show. Today is the release date for Jessica Jones, the brand new Marvel property.
How much have you watched already?
I'm on episode 3. Now,
okay.
Here's the thing. They gave me the first 7 episodes leading up to this week, and there was just all these technical problems that I didn't realize that Chrome and Firefox are phasing out this coding that Microsoft uses because they don't want any part of it, and plus they feel that it's old and it bogs down a lot of their systems. So it was just a cluster F this week where I was trying to stream some of the videos, but technically there was problems and what have you. But I got to see about 3 episodes so far of Jessica Jones. It's all out today, so I'm sure by this time now everyone's seen.
Yeah.
Or there's people out there who've seen all of 13 episodes.
I saw one.
Something like
I saw the first one.
Oh, good. Good. So you'll be prepared. So it is Jessica Jones Day here on the show. I forgot the other stuff on the printer. I'll have to run down and get
Eric.
that. That's all right. Kristen Ritter is on the show today. Ooh. She, of course, plays Jessica Jones. We also have Carrie-Anne Moss. Now, you may remember her as Trinity from the Matrix trilogies.
Oh, yeah.
But she's also in Jessica Jones. Mm-hmm. So that's exciting. We have the Team Ashens coming in today, Matt, right?
Yeah. There was supposed to be 2 people, well, 3 people total, but two of the girls were coming, but one of them got pulled away last minute. So Britt Page is still coming. She'll be here shortly. I actually just spoke to the gentleman behind the whole group, and they'll be here shortly. So.
Okay, so they didn't find a replacement for her.
No.
They're just going to be one down. That's great.
It happens.
They'll have a cosplayer showing up.
Are they coming in costumes?
I don't know. They're not coming in costumes.
Why aren't they coming in costumes?
Why would they come in costumes?
Why would they come if they're not in costumes?
This is an audio program. There's only a little bit of a visual.
We take photos. We put stuff out there for the people.
Well, we could have just pretended they were in costumes and just described it.
You could see them in costume this weekend at New Jersey Comic Book Expo, where our friend Randy from Nickel will be.
Okay.
As well as them.
Fine.
What a good point.
Good. But that still doesn't satisfy the fact that they're not going to be dressed in costumes here.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. So we'll get that. McGittles, maybe we'll find something for you down the hallway that you can wear since they're not dressing up.
I could have mugged one of the guards at the platform in Secaucus and stolen a police uniform.
You just went as that?
Wow.
Crazy security.
We'll get into that in a moment. So Team Ash will be here. Also, a little later in the program, a podcast that I stumbled across. Now, it is documented years ago. I'll say 2013. This might have been said when Opie and Anthony were doing the morning show here. I had made mention that I was going to do all these different podcasts and stuff because I didn't have this show at the time, and I wanted another outlet for doing things.
Sure.
And one of the things that I pitched was doing a Simpsons podcast, which Giddles and I were actually working on.
Yep.
We recorded a few episodes and whatnot, and it was pretty much commentary tracks to the episodes. It's kind of like if you're following Kevin Smith and Matt Myra's new podcast for Frasier. They're watching every episode. They give you the time cues to go, and they do their commentary for the entire episode. So and this was, again, before that, too. So we were going to do that, and then other things came around. This show came around, and I didn't have time for that. So that's the answer is why that didn't get released. But I did find a podcast that does something better.
Okay.
Involving The Simpsons. And this purely is just for me because I was listening to this and I was like, this can't be good because most of these podcasts are not good that do commentary for TV shows and what have you. And surprisingly, they're good.
I was actually kind of surprised because Eric's never called me up to be like, hey, have you listened to this podcast? I was like, wow, Eric's called me to ask me if I've listened to a podcast. That's really odd.
I can't get him to listen to this show. So So I was listening to the podcast. Their production elements are good. They have a structure. It's like doing a real radio show, but just on a Simpson episode per episode.
Okay.
And they break down, they have all the facts, they have all the stuff, so I thought it was kind of cool, so we're going to talk to them for a little bit later in the program, and Giddles and I will just nerd it up a little on Simpsons while you go to the bathroom or something.
Yeah, I'll figure it out.
Take a walk,
I'll
find
kick
some
back,
pretzels.
I'll get some food.
Have some,
go take a shower.
Twirling his thumb going, do, 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 do.
A little sweaty, too.
I have some pie over there if you'd like some.
I saw when I walked in. That
it's
looks
quite decorative,
sacrilegious.
so feel free to help yourself to some of that if you would
A
like.
nice, refreshing pie.
That's everything on the show here. Plus, we have a bunch of stuff that we're giving away today. We have... Where is it? It's over here. Sorry about
What is that? That's where they all are.
We have some... If you're a PlayStation 4 owner, we have some copies of Call of Duty Black Ops 3 still to give away.
Nice.
We have some of that. Now, I was trying to figure out why I didn't know about this game.
Okay.
Now I've kind of figured out why I didn't know about this game. So we have another game here to give away from our friends at Activision. Gave us copies of Transformers Devastation.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you know about this?
I do know about this game.
So we have an Xbox One and a PS4 copy
I
of
want
that
to play
give away
that
as
game.
well.
It looks awesome.
Now, here's what I was trying to figure out, because I didn't see much on this. And I looked at the back, and it looks like you're playing the Generation 1 cartoon, right?
Exactly.
So
That's
I'm
what the style is.
Why didn't I see much promotion for this or talk about this or whatever? Hold on. I think it comes down to the fact that going into the holiday season, there's a lot of blockbuster titles coming out right now, and it's all like young adult to adult-based games.
Sure.
With the exception of Super Mario Maker and Lego Dimension, haven't seen much being put out for kids and family stuff to play. So I'm figuring this is, the next thing that they're pushing out, because Activision is also pushing out the revival of Guitar Hero.
Right.
Excuse me. Call of Duty, whole bunch of stuff. So I think this got kind of lost in the shuffle here, but I think it looks awesome because one of my favorite characters is right on the front, and that is Devastator.
Well, Devastator is, I think, the big bad in the game. But I think it was probably around E3. There were like 2 or 3 trailers for it that hit online that got a lot of buzz, because I remember watching them and thinking that was fantastic, that they were using the Gen 1 designs. And I want to say, although I could be mistaken, that we may have briefly picked Brian Shea's mind on it when they made the announcement at E3, when we had him on for E3.
Okay.
I think, but I could be mistaken. I know I saw the trailers for it.
I looked back at my notes and I was like, I don't think we talked about that game at all, and I realized I wasn't aware of it.
Yeah, I know that I had seen it, some of the trailers when they had come out, so I knew it was coming, but maybe I'm more into Transformers or spend more time online.
Anything with the name Transformers, I'm just like, it's going to be just Michael Bay.
But no,
at least in a video game, you want the explosions,
You do, but did you see the designs? It's all like Gen 1 animation
just like
designs.
The old cartoons. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah. And, of course, we have copies of Age of Ultron and Inside Out also to give away to everybody here. Let's go around the room, say hi to everybody. Matt OG, how are you, sir?
I am good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Geek Stuff OG on Twitter and Instagram.
Yes.
What were you talking about with the cops down at the subway there?
So, I guess in light of Paris and then that video that came out that showed Times Square and all that stuff, right? The nicest video. I guess they're really ramping up security on the trains and mass transit because the Secaucus platform. It was, I know, a couple days ago, because my wife was coming into the city and saw it too. But there were guys with M16s on the platform with like bomb dogs, like checking the cars. That's why I was kind of delayed, because all the trains were slowed up. Even coming into Penn Station, everything was slowed up. So that was exciting. Oh. That was fun and exciting.
So you got, not only you have that on top of the holiday rush and everything, all of the local news channels here at local NBC has been flashing every time they come up to do news breaks. Traffic gridlock alert day. Because now it's the holiday tourist season, and
on top of everything.
Look, right here, we're in Rockefeller Center.
Right.
And 6th Avenue is over there, one of the busiest streets here in Manhattan. They start blocking those off at certain times of day, so you got to run parallel all the way down before you're allowed to go north and south, and then do this weird horseshoe thing in order just to get to the tunnel on the west side. And it's a big pain in the ass.
Yeah. So traffic is all sorts of screwed up in and out of the city. So I have that going for me. It's fun.
But you're here now, and we'll have some fun.
Tourists and terrorists.
Nice. Ooh, it sounds like the theme for a podcast or something. I like that.
Or like a new Broadway show.
There you go. Tourists and terrorists by Matt Parker and Trace.
Don't know who we'll meet.
Giddles, how are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, I'm all right, hanging in there.
How's the life of television going?
It's going slow.
Slow?
I left the last gig I was.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, it wasn't very good, and I didn't want to.
You weren't very good?
No, the show itself wasn't very good.
The show wasn't good.
Yeah, it wasn't my cup of tea as far as TV goes, and I just didn't want to have to do that.
So you told them, I don't like this show, I'm not going to work here anymore?
Basically, I was like, this is not for me. I was like, you need to get someone in here who wants to do this show, because it's just one of those things, like, you don't want to go into work and dread having to do it. Like, I would rather have someone else do it than go in there every day with a shitty attitude and be like, oh, well, Brian's just an asshole.
Right.
Which is true, but I don't need them to know that, based on my work.
I don't need to publicly announce it.
Exactly.
Right.
So,
can you tell us a little bit about what the show was?
Sort of. I'm still under, agreements that I signed, and it was just, in Variety that it's, coming out this week. But it's just basically one of these YouTube-type shows with comedians talking about videos. So that's basically the gist I can run down.
So it's like the VH1 style?
Yeah, it's, kind of similar to that.
Let me ask you a question from, a professional standpoint.
Yeah.
So you tell these people, shove off. I don't want to do your dirty show.
Yeah.
Does this hurt now? Is this a black mark on your record within the community? Does it hurt your chances of future work or no?
Not really.
No? Okay.
I mean, the world is so small. I mean, I know so many people who've been literally fired for fucking up hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of things at shows, and they get rehired all the time. It's just they don't really care. TV's a weird industry where it's just throw money at the problem until it's done, and they don't really care what happens. If you got fired at another company, well, maybe it just wasn't a good fit. I mean, I had a person who took over from me who emailed me and was like, yo, why did you leave this job? And I was like, well, you see the content. And he's like, well, dude, I actually respect you a little more because you were able to walk away from it and be like, you know what? I'm not doing that bullshit. So
well, that's good. I mean, because I know sometimes when you have a job like that, or where you work in that kind of industry where it's not a salaried gig, you are really freelance, and so a lot of your work is probably based on reputation as well as previous work. I guess it's ballsy, but I'm glad that it doesn't affect you. That you'll be okay.
The thing is, it does kind of affect me now because I left the job, so now I can't collect unemployment because I left, which is a problem with the unemployment thing because I can't just leave it. You can't just leave a job and still get unemployment, even if it's something that will be detrimental to your career. If I just, the unemployment office doesn't understand the freelance work of TV. So if I get stuck at a shitty job, they'll be like, well, just stay there until you get fired. But it's no, that's worse for my resume in the long run. So, it is what it is, but gotta move on. I'll find something.
I was going to say, you should be able to find something. Going into the holidays, there's always something going on, no?
There's always something going on.
I'm just start editing something randomly. I don't know.
I'll just start editing things. I'll just be on the street, just editing food shows that I'm making in my own living room.
If dudes could sell CDs on the street, Big Pimpin' or whatever the hell they are.
Yeah.
You could do some just random on the fly editing. Take some photos and sell them to people. Here's a tourist photo of you in the tree. Here, I'll edit it real quick on my phone.
Yeah. But, it's slow right now anyway, so whatever. It's not too bad. With the holidays coming up, I'd rather not have to be in the city every day dealing with craziness.
I hear you.
And Lisa Correa's here. Hi.
Hey. Yeah.
Lisa Correa on Twitter, Instagram, and what is it? My Big Apartment Show?
Oh, that stuff. Yeah, unlike Giddles, I'll take any job.
You're not picky, whatever.
Well,
don't say that to this audience.
Rent.
Yeah.
I did catheter commercials. Look it up. It's on YouTube.
Oh, man.
Oh, no.
Wait, YouTube's right in front of us.
Oh, right. Hey. The commercials themselves aren't on there, but the soup made fun of the commercials, and it's there's a clip.
Oh, so you got to dig through that, through the soup in order to get to that?
Yeah.
All right.
They're hilarious.
That's a homework assignment for somebody else.
I had to be so... okay, listen, it's a nod to how good of an actress I am because I was so passionate about those catheters. I really sold them. Oh, man.
What brand was the catheters?
Oh. All brands.
You're in luck?
They have names like that. They have little funny puns, yeah.
That's horrible.
Oh, yeah.
We might have done this at one point, but you do all those commercials for South Florida for those flea markets.
Oh, yeah. Festival Flea Market. I still do those. They're awesome.
Which one out of these should we play?
Well, go for it. Whatever you
what's about the gold bra?
Where's the one with the gold? Oh, that one there?
Yeah.
Gold bra. Oh,
that's
God
a shopper who just showed me what she found in the flea market. So that's kind of the shtick that we do. Shoppers come up and show me what they found, and I just...
your great find at Festival today?
Make jokes about it.
Huh?
There you go.
I like it. Is this a self-defense bra? Because this says hands off. No hams there.
Exactly.
It's
Very
got
sharp
like spikes
is
on
what
it.
you are.
And I had no idea that I would actually find it at the festival. And I also found the pants.
It's got built-in air conditioning.
This is like
Jesus Christ.
You could go beyond the Thunderdome. Festival Flea Market Mall.
That's pretty good.
Road at the
it's fun to do those actually because the owners of this flea market are really funny and they love that I'm a comedian. So they send me shoppers and just let me make stuff up, and that's the commercial.
I mean, it looks like at least you're having fun with it.
I
mean,
do have fun with it.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually not bad. Those are fun.
Those are great. I
Yeah.
love doing those.
All right, it's up
That's
on
one of my
It's
good
Erik
gigs.
Nagel on Twitter if you want to check it out
All
there.
right. Yeah.
Plus, also some of the stuff that we're giving away here. And one thing we didn't talk about is this thing right here.
Yeah, man.
We got a signed Jessica Jones poster
That
from
is
Kristen
awesome.
Ritter. So we're
That's
going
really
to give
sweet.
that away tonight. Oh, and by the way, Matt couldn't make time to see Ms. Ritter, but she did say to say hello. And this is for you.
Oh, look at that.
Yes. Oh,
Pretty sweet.
yes.
But it's
Look at that.
also signed
Oh, I know who it's also signed by.
by 1/10th Doctor
That's
David
it.
Tennant.
My doctor. The Converse doctor. He's my kind of guy.
So David Tennant was in the building this week. Didn't get a chance to interview him. He was doing something for Entertainment Weekly. But I did get the chance to meet him, and I was all, I don't even know how to describe it.
Were you fanboyish? Were you squealing?
Yeah, I was fanboyish. I was very quiet and very still.
Were you afraid?
When he was done? So he came out. I said hello to him, talked to him for a tiny bit. We took some photos. He signed some stuff, and then he left, which is how it should have went.
Sure, absolutely.
And I was like, oh my God. So I then tell Matt, and I go, oh my God, I'm so glad this is one of the days that I didn't wear a Doctor Who shirt because I didn't know he was coming in.
Right.
I found out maybe an hour before he was here.
Yeah, I didn't think he was in New York.
Right. So I would have felt a bit foolish if I was wearing one of my probably 24 Doctor Who shirts. And sent him, I said, oh, this day has been amazing, something like that. And didn't say why, I just sent the photo to Matt. And I received a text back saying, oh, fuck you. But he was great. So one day I talked to his representative, so next time he's around, maybe we'll get some time and have him here on the program.
I'll be sick that day.
Oh, sick from coming in for the interview? Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, that's
Giddles
what
and
I
I'll
thought.
just have to
That's
go
what
and
I
wing
thought.
that one
Who?
ourselves.
Who's David Tennant?
Oh,
he the guy
Matt
who
is
writes
getting
those
really
plays?
mad at you right now.
Oh, I'll break this phone over your face.
No, but seriously, who?
Let's go out to California and speak to Kurt. Kurt, how are you, sir?
Kurt, I'm great. How you guys doing? It's a pleasure to be on your show. I listen to the station a lot.
Thank you, man. Where in California are you?
I'm actually in the Bay Area, but I'm in the East Bay Area, kind of a little east of Oakland.
Okay.
Maybe 25% range.
I'm guessing that's the highway you're driving over there.
Yeah.
So-
Let me get you off that. How about that? Is that better?
Off the highway? Is he just going to just make a turn?
That's what shoulders are for. Calling into radio shows. You didn't know that?
Yeah, exactly. I live on the edge.
See?
So,
He's a
you
brave
guys
man.
with me today.
So what can we do for you, Kurt?
Well, I was just going to call and say I'm really looking forward to the show. A lot of the Marvel television shows, I was really high on Agents when it first came out, but
Right.
it just seems like they have no star power, but I'm anxious to see this new one because I think they've went out and got somebody that can carry a show, because I was really impressed with her in that sitcom she did on ABC.
Well, did you see Daredevil, sir?
Yeah, I've seen some of that. I just never was a big Daredevil fan, though. So,
All right. Yeah, I mean, even as not a fan, that show, the Netflix version of Daredevil, not Affleck's Daredevil. The Netflix Daredevil was really good. I mean, it was really well
He
written.
was awesome in Phantom, though.
He's the bomb in Phantom. It was well choreographed. The storyline was good. It was really visceral and violent. And Vincent D'Onofrio, I mean, he played a creepy ass motherfucker as Wilson Fisk.
He's
So
great, and he was great in Law and Order. So
my favorite role of his is Men in Black as the cockroach. So.
I don't know, Private Pile in Full Metal Jacket.
Private Pile. Very good call. Very good call. But yes, Jessica Jones, I think is going to be really good. Creepy as hell and a bit of violence and a bit of naughtiness. And, man, it's the Marvel Netflix world.
Any show that has a dark side. You like any show that has a dark edge to it.
Well, it definitely has a dark edge to it. You shan't be disappointed.
I kind of like that the TV versions don't have a lot of star power to them. Because I think it would take you out of the story. Well,
I kind of agree.
It's funny because these are like, I don't want to say Daredevil is a second tier character, but he's certainly not the Avengers, right? Like, so he's like tier like 1.5. Like he's like somewhere in the mid range, but that's good. Like
he's like the JV squad.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like a slightly smaller scale character with a slightly smaller scale cast, but as long as everything else is solid, it works. Who cares who's playing it as long as they're good in the role?
Right. Yeah. But I think like for the movies, when they put Robert Downey Jr. in Iron Man, they were giving you a name to launch this whole big thing and hoping that it would work, and it did.
Sure.
But by putting other people into, lesser-known actors into some of these bigger roles, made them bigger actors.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
Now you're like, oh, Chris Hemsworth and Chris Evans
exactly.
and Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk there. Now all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, how did they get these big people in these movies? Well, they weren't at that level when they started these things, and kind of grew.
I mean, really think about Robert Downey Jr. When they cast him as Iron Man, what was the thing that Robert Downey Jr. had done prior to Iron Man?
Sherlock,
drugs.
Right?
No, I think Sherlock was actually either around the drugs. Drugs, good call. I think Sherlock was around the same time or after the first Iron Man. It was very close, but still, he hadn't done anything in a while. They were kind of taking a chance. I mean, they kind of typecast him, but they were kind of taking a chance on him, and it worked. I mean, good on them. It was brilliant casting, whoever decided to do it.
Well, I remember when I saw that in theaters, because I really didn't have any interest in seeing Iron Man, and then I was like, oh, look, they cast a drunk billionaire as a drunk billionaire.
Listen up, phone caller. You can hold on one moment. Gittles is talking.
That's it. I'm done. You can go, caller.
All right, go ahead, caller.
Okay, I was going to say that I think Downey Jr. owns the character of Tony Stark, which, in a way, Tony Stark is his own character aside from Iron Man, so having someone that is that a detail of an actor, and, he just epitomizes the Tony Stark comic book character to me.
Well, he definitely took it on and became that role, like, after the movie and the success of it. And then seeing, like, all this stuff that he was doing for, like, the children in hospitals and dressing up as Iron Man, just, like, all that, like, really good feel-good stuff. It was, good casting.
Okay.
All right, and there it is.
Thanks so much.
All right, no problem, Kurt. Thank you for calling. Let's see. Let's go to Shane in the Bronx. Shane, how are you, sir?
I'm excellent, Eric. How are you, sir?
We are doing a radio show. Or attempting.
I just wanted to actually call and say thank you to you, Eric, personally. A couple months ago, you were down in Miami at Comic-Con, and I don't remember who you interviewed from Doctor Who. It was a female.
Paul McGann, the 8th Doctor.
Okay. And then I was like, you know what? Let me give Doctor Who a check out. And I started from the 5th season on Netflix, and within a month ripped through the 8 seasons on the 5 seasons on Netflix. And it just, dude, thank you. It's an awesome show.
Well, there's more than 5 seasons on Netflix there. For the modern run. I don't know if they put the 9th season up, but there's at least 8 seasons up there already that you can plow through. Plus, they have a bunch of the old Doctors, numbers 1 through 7 is on there. If you want to check out the old stuff, you don't need the old stuff to watch the new stuff. But if you're only 5 seasons through and you're loving it, there's 8 seasons. Right now, season 10 is currently on the air.
No, I'm up to the season with the 13th Doctor and the Impossible Girl.
Oh, okay.
The 12th Doctor and the Impossible Girl.
Well,
Peter Capaldi.
Well, 13th, technically. He's not technically wrong.
Gittles is shaking his head. That means we're losing the audience.
Doctor.
So
he is
anyway,
13th, he is the 13th Doctor. If you count the War Doctor.
The 12th.
All right, and it's not even me. I want to go on the record that I did not bring the geek this week. All right, it's not even me. So fuck all y'all.
Well, Shane, either way, I'm glad you gave it a chance. You discovered it, and welcome to the world of Doctor Who.
Sir, have a fantastic weekend.
You too, sir. You take care. Let's
Sir.
You guys got bullied.
Wants to talk about Jessica Jones. Let's go to Tony in Montreal.
Hey, guys.
How are you?
Very good. I'm loving how adult the show is. Like, I was not expecting for the show to be this sexual.
Jessica Jones?
It's Erik Nagel?
Well, I know,
just got started, sir.
We are saucy here. Are you familiar with the book? Did you read the book at all by any chance?
No, I'm coming in here as a Kristen Ritter fan. I loved her in Breaking Bad. I loved the bitch in Apartment 23.
It's the beast, sir.
So a very quick backstory that'll kind of explain a little bit that to you. Jessica Jones, when she was introduced to the Marvel Universe, it was when Marvel was trying to put out an adult line of comic books to rival DC's adult line of comic books. And Alias, which was the name of her book, was the first book in that line. It was under the Marvel Max line of books. And it was supposed to be very graphic, sexual, intense, a much deeper, darker story. That being said, they're doing a pretty good job of capturing that feeling from that book. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's totally awesome. And seriously, the fact that two heroes are having sex and what that kind of entails, I thought was super original to get to see that.
Super baby.
That's why they can't do it with the Flash.
I also love the fact that Mike Coulter, who plays one of the characters, like, as a crazy geek, like, I'm seeing her interact with, like, Loki from, like, Halo 5.
Yeah, man. And Mike Coulter, his role keeps getting bigger and bigger in that universe.
You guys do an amazing job. I love the show. Keep it up.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for calling, man. Tell more people in Canada that, we're friendly. We're not going to attack you. Unless you're a dick.
So what is the premise of Jessica Jones for someone like me who has not read it or seen anything other than the minute trailer?
Jessica Jones is a retired superhero. She no longer wanted to do it anymore, but she realized that she needed to do something for a living because she didn't have that superhero money coming in. So she opens up a private investigation firm. I mean, that's kind of the basic premise of the story. She's no longer officially a superhero anymore. She still has all of her powers. She's just not like part of the Avengers, or she's not part of a team really. She is dating / eventually gets married to Luke Cage, who Mike Coulter is playing on the show.
Can you explain her powers without being a spoiler, or is it what does she do? Okay,
it's mostly super strength. I don't think she can fly. It's been a while, and I've only watched the first 2 episodes of the show. But super
I don't
strength
know if she can fly, but she can jump.
She can jump
pretty high.
Super strength. I think it's primarily super strength.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Mostly lifting cars.
Just lifting cars. The baby trapped of this car.
Breaking doorknobs, things
so
of
babies
that.
under cars.
Yeah, well, it's a good place to leave them.
They're like cats. They go there because it's warm.
Yeah, it's nice and warm. You can just curl up next to the engine block.
That's where all the stray babies go.
Exactly.
Stray bees.
Just check your tires before you leave in the morning because you never know.
Yeah. Is that a soda bottle?
Jessica Jones is out on Netflix, all the episodes. If you're looking for something new or if something binge-worthy, this is definitely the show. Last week on Netflix was the debut of the brand new season of Mr. Show.
Right.
Yes.
Now, I got to see some of the first episode, and then I had to do the Jessica Jones stuff. But I know Giddles plowed through it. Lisa, did you watch any of it?
I saw one.
Okay. What did you think?
I watched all the episodes 3 times because it is that good. It is really
so
good. It is
it's
like,
not Arrested Development season 4, people.
No, God, no. This is like, hey, Mr. Show, like there was a gap between the episodes, and it's still going. It's still that good, still that funny and edgy, as subversive as it is. I love it. I thought it was great.
I've got to go back and watch are the originals on Netflix as well?
That I don't know. I think they might be on HBO Go because it was an HBO show, but I'm not 100% sure.
All right, I got to seek them out.
I would highly recommend it. It's really funny. And I don't know if anyone else watched the Birthday Boys on Netflix, but they come into the second episode, and then they're part of the show too. And then there's other people from other sketch comedy shows who all start like joining the show. So it gets like progressively more sketchier in a good way, not like sketchier in a bad way.
All right.
But I loved it. I thought it was great. Definitely on the top of the list to binge.
Okay, cool.
The worst part about it is that I did not know that there was only 4 episodes and a documentary about it as the 5th episode. So I got drunk one night and watched all 4 episodes. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to put it on tomorrow. And someone's like, oh, someone didn't tell him. I was like, what? I was like, oh, there's no more episodes. Fuck. They're like, this when you find out Firefly is like 1 season where I was like,
oh man.
My heart breaks.
Well, since we're suggesting all kinds of things to binge watch, the holidays are coming up, so obviously when you're done seeing your family, you're going to camp out at your house for a while, and you want things to do and not things that involve the kids.
That's right. My favorite show right now is Ash versus the Evil Dead.
Oh my God, it's so good.
So awesome.
All right, hold on to that. We'll get into that in 1 second. But Mark in Chicago, did we at least give you a couple of suggestions? Mark wants to know about some other shows besides Jessica Jones that he could binge watch.
Mr. Sex Bagel. That is right. You answered my question before I even got a chance to ask it.
Okay.
I wrote down Mr. Show.
Definitely.
And, you know what? I forgot all about Ash versus the Evil Dead. That was on my radar for a while, and then I just forgot to watch that one.
That is on Stars for people listening. It's not on Netflix, but if you have cable, chances are you have Stars. You can get the on-demand. You can catch up with everything involving Ash versus the Evil Dead. So good.
Noted. You know, you had a previous caller that said he stopped watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. after first couple episodes of the first season. Surprised nobody brought up. This show has gotten so much better.
You know what? I was going to say it, but I thought maybe I would just be beating a dead horse. But I agree. It has gotten really, really good. And this season has been, with the exception of one character, I think this season it's been really, really an enjoyable watch.
Oh, for sure.
I'm still catching up on that, too.
It's a more sci-fi turn.
Yeah, absolutely.
With all the humans aspect to it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a nice addition to where the Marvel Universe is going cinematically, too. So it'll all tie in very, very lovely.
That's right. Well, you boys have a good night.
Hey, Mark, I'm going to put you on hold. We're going to get your information. Would you want a copy of Avengers Age of Ultron?
I would love that.
Okay, I'm going to put you on hold. We'll give you that, all right?
Hey, thank you, sir.
Okay. I think we need to do something in December there because a lot of people are going to take, if they're fortunate enough, take 2 weeks off for Christmas and New Year's. It's a great year to use your vacation time because Christmas Eve and Christmas are a Thursday and Friday, and New Year's Eve and New Year's are a Thursday and Friday. And chances are, depending where you work, if you're not in retail, those are corporate holidays or company holidays, and you'll have those off so that they don't count towards your vacation.
Right.
So you get shorter weeks, use less vacation. People will probably take those 2 weeks off. You're going to Christmas takes a lot out of you, and most people don't want to go out for New Year's because there's never really anything fun to do on New Year's Eve other than stay home or hang out with some friends or whatever. And drink and grill and just, live your life at home and not worry about being at the wrong party or at the wrong club or something like that.
That's right.
I think we need to put together a new holiday binge list.
Okay.
Stuff that's on television, stuff that's on Netflix, even movies that are coming out, not in the theater, but movies that are downloadable. The DVDs are coming out. We'll put all that together and put that up online. So stuff that we all enjoy. Maybe turn on some new people to some new things. Since this seems to be a big question of people asking us which shows should they watch, what's the next thing to do.
All right.
So we'll compile all that and we'll probably post it. We'll post it around December 4th with the Holiday Beer Show.
I was going to say either that or, we'll post it right before the December 11th show, somewhere in that window there, because then we can kind of address some of it on the 11th.
Now, the December 11th show, that's going to be Matt's last show for the year, because
Correct.
You're going to do the Christmas at Disney thing, which is really awesome.
Yep.
I want to do that at some point in my life. I'd love to go down there for Christmas. Now, here's what I don't understand. You had told me last time that you're getting down there the day after they finish up with the Christmas at night when the park's closed.
Correct.
Travis told me that they stopped that, but everything else is incorporated back into the park, so you're not missing out on anything.
Well, yeah, so I guess everything is still decorated, but I don't know if all the other...
He said all the features that you get at night, instead of having it exclusive to those who bought the tickets, when the park closes, you're there for another couple of hours, they work it back into the park.
Oh, okay.
So it's there for everybody to enjoy from that point on. So because I was asking him about it, I'm like, Matt's all upset that he's missing something, because you're not going to miss anything, you just don't have the exclusivity of it being at the park at night, but it's there.
Oh, good. Well... There you go.
So now your trip's a little better.
And my trip is even betterer, because I think that some of the new Star Wars stuff is going to be kind of laid out in Disney World. I know some of it is going on in Disneyland already, but I think some of it is kicking off in December in Disney World, so I might catch that as well.
Is Christmas like a really crazy time to go to Disneyland? Like, what's the worst time of year to go to Disney?
Summer.
Summer?
Honestly,
June
like
through
August.
June through August around there is the worst, because all the people up north, and not just the Northeast, Northwest, Midwest. They all come down because that's when all the kids are off from school.
Oh, okay.
And it's the worst time to be in Florida because that's the hottest, most humid months of the year. But that's when everyone goes down to all the attractions in Orlando there. So that's pretty much the worst time. When I went to Epcot and Disney during the Food and Wine celebration, which was in October.
Yeah, that's the best time.
That seems to be the best time because there's a lot going on and there's not a lot of family stuff that's taking away from the experience. You can go and do everything you want that's kid-friendly, that's adult-friendly, but there's not overcrowdedness and the family stuff's not killing adults having a good time.
Disney has gotten smart about kind of figuring out special events for almost every part of the year now. I mean, August is, like, the summer months are always going to be the most packed again because that's when kids are off, but you'll if you look at actually like Disney's schedule, they have these weird like random weeks that they consider on peak weeks, and it must be based on their history of it. But the other thing to remember is like sometimes you'll go and you'll be in the park with like 1 million Germans. Oof. There'll be like 30 Americans and just Brazilians as far as the eye can see. They're all wearing yellow shirts. Like, so I guess because they've got people coming from all over the world, it's that
some
really
of those
helps
some of those weird peaks it's exactly what you're saying here. My sister-in-law is a certified travel for exclusively for Walt Disney.
Right.
So she handles anything you could possibly think of. The cruises, the theme parks, their private beach resorts that they have up and down the East Coast. Yep. All that stuff, she can handle all of that. She told me that some of those weeks, there's huge influx, at least on the East Coast in Orlando, of European travel because their schedules are so much different than what we have here in America. That's the big time for, like you said, Brazilians and German. I know Brazil's not in Europe, but Brazilians and Germans and England and all of them come over here. The West Coast gets an influx during certain times of the year because of Asia.
Sure.
All the Asians that come over to Los Angeles and Anaheim and go over there for that Disney stuff, they get it just like the East Coast does. So that's why you're like, why is this a difficult period to go? Has nothing to do with America. There's other people in the world that are...
When do the Syrians go?
They're not allowed in the park.
Hey.
They have not been...
They just got kicked out of It's a Small World.
Ask Banksy.
they're pulling the children of Syria out of It's a Small World. They're smashing them up, doing curb stomps.
Oh, you gotta get out of here.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Throw them back into Pirates of the Caribbean.
It's one of the... ISIS is one of the new attractions in Epcot this year.
Disney is such a magical place.
Sure it is.
We had Travis from New Jersey on the phone, but I guess he left. He wanted to talk about Marvel. Let's go to Dan in Florida. Dan? Wait, let's try that again. Dan, are you there?
I am here.
Hi, Dan. Where in Florida are you?
I am actually right now I'm in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay. Good place to be.
So here's yeah, I know. I like it here. Here's my question for you guys. And Heroes. I tapped out of it in the old series, and the Heroes Reborn is out, and I have not had anyone to talk to about this. Is this something I should be watching?
No.
Does any of you have any experience?
Wow.
There you go.
No, you should not be watching it.
I'm not going to be as blunt as Matt is, but I'm 2 episodes in, and I have the rest all on my DVR because I constantly can't just sit there and watch what I want to watch because we have so much other stuff going on. I got to watch all these other things, so I'm kind of spreading it out where I can. From the first 2 episodes, I got to tell you, I didn't really, other than they made a slight nod to the original series that, what's her name? Hayden Panettiere's character is dead. Her dad's now on a new mission with this stuff. And maybe 1 or 2 of the old people are making cameos. Doesn't really explain a whole hell of a lot since the last thing, and it's not explaining much about where they're going other than just shit is happening and here we are.
Pretty much what happened was they learned nothing from where the show went off the tracks, when it went off the tracks. And they were like, we're just going to bring it back because everybody likes superheroes now. But we're not going to change anything. Yeah, no. You still put out a crappy show. No, don't watch. You save your energy.
Oh. Yeah, it seems like, at least from that review, that you even have it on your DVR and I'm not watching it. enough.
No, find something else that's exciting and fun to watch. Watch something like Orphan Black if you've never watched that.
Yes. Yeah, that's a great one.
I got to catch up on season 3.
Yeah, same here.
But I got to tell you this. I spoke with BBC, especially when I saw them in San Diego. We have a lot to do with season 4.
Nice.
We have some involvement with season 4.
I'm all about it.
Yes.
Can I be in the Clone Club? What?
You know about the Clone Club?
I'm a member.
Wow.
It's a card-carrying member.
Do you have the PTA shirt?
No.
Oh, maybe I do. We'll see if we have one in Gittle's size there. Bright pink. Which clone was it that was going for the PTA?
Oh, it was Allison.
Allison, okay. Yeah, so I think I have a Team Allison vote the PTA, whatever that the logo was for Gittles. We'll dress him up and take a photo in that.
There you go.
But yes, definitely Orphan Black.
I'll dress as Cosima, but I'm not shaving.
All 3 seasons are available for download. Plus, if you still buy DVDs, Blu-rays, they're all out there. So it's something to binge on for Christmas.
Very cool. Very cool.
Speaking of Black, you guys tried the Black Ops yet? I know you guys had some copies of that.
We do have that. We have not given them away yet, but you know what? Since you asked, I think I'll give you a copy of it. Do you have a PlayStation 4?
I do have a PlayStation 4.
Then you now have a copy of Call of Duty Black Ops 3 from our friends at Activision.
Woohoo. Amazing.
All right.
You guys are the best.
I know.
Oh, well, thank you.
That works at GameStop, too. Try it there.
Sir, tell 2 friends so they can tell 2 friends, all right?
Gotcha.
All right, we'll put you on hold, Dan. We'll get your information. We're going to give away the rest of these games and the Transformers stuff, I promise, today. Plus, we have the signed Jessica Jones poster from Kristen Ritter and a few other little things here. We're going to speak to Kristen Ritter a little later in the show. Also, Carrie-Anne Moss is from Jessica Jones as well. You may know her as Trinity from the Matrix trilogy. We're not sure what's going on with Team Ashen yet. There's traffic issues and stuff.
They got stuck.
They make it here, they make it here.
They're
and
trying.
If not, that's fine too.
Yeah.
And then we'll speak to the guys from Talking Simpsons later in the program there. So let's take a break. We'll take one there, Lewis. We'll come back, talk a little bit, and then get to Kristen Ritter.
Cool.
Okay? We'll be right back.
We're back. Call Eric and Matt now. 866-969-1969. It's Erik Nagel.
And we're back here. It's Erik Nagel. 866-969-1969 is the phone number to talk to myself, Matt, Gittles, Lisa. We are all here. A little bit later in the program, Kristen Ritter, Carrie-Anne Moss from Jessica Jones, the new Marvel property for Netflix. We're all excited about that. We'll talk to the guys from Talking Simpsons and the Laser Time show in a little bit. And then
Laser Time.
If Team Ashen makes it in, we'll talk to them as well. A lot of shit going on there. You know, last week when we started the show, a little rough because right as we were going on, about half an hour or so before that is when all the stuff broke out in Paris.
Yeah.
So a little difficult to do a program when you're trying to talk about anything but what's going on and what's on the televisions at that moment.
Can I say, though, that I learned 2 very valuable things after that show last week. One, my parents listened to the show, so hi, Mom and Dad. And two, my mom called me to say, you guys handled the Paris thing very well.
Oh,
she understood that it wasn't in our wheelhouse, but she said you guys did a very good job of how you approached it and how you handled it.
We did the best we could for nerds.
For nerds, yeah. For a bunch of geeks, we handled it well. So there you go.
Do they have a Sirius or XM account?
I think Sirius.
Okay. You need to cancel the best of package so that they don't get this channel anymore. All right. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. OG. No offense.
Don't tell them about your Instagram or any of the other stuff, or like Snapchat.
No, my mom already told me this week I might get profiled while I was in the city, so it's all right. It's all good.
Speaking of Snapchat, so we have. I want to get back to the Paris stuff in a second.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we have a Snapchat. It's Erik Nagel on Snapchat. Really don't know what to do with this thing. I don't find Snapchat at all, interesting at all. I know people are obsessed with it. I know younger people use it more than Twitter and Facebook now. So I get it has a place.
Okay.
I just don't know where my place is with Snapchat. But I did find one thing today as Lisa was trying out the now illegal hoverboards in New York City for the first time.
Illegal?
Yeah.
It's illegal.
Although,
to ride
too
it
much
out,
fun.
to ride it in the street and outside, it's illegal.
Although I read a lot about that today in preparation for this conversation in case we got to it.
Okay,
So.
well, here it is. Tell us what you got.
So actually, I think it's probably going to end up getting overturned. Someone's going to end up fighting it because the statute that they're claiming is what makes it illegal, specifically refers to motorized vehicles with handlebars, and the hoverboard clearly does not have handlebars.
Yeah.
It also refers to vehicles that go in excess of 12 miles per hour, and the hoverboards can barely reach 10.
Okay.
So I suspect if someone really wants to fight it, and someone will because it's New York and we're a litigious society, they're either going to have to do an addendum to the law to make them illegal, or they're going to have to eat crow.
Yeah, I think they're probably just going to end up eating crow on this.
Yeah.
Just like when they were going to, we're going to take 4 Loco out of stores, and it's still in stores.
It's still in stores, yeah.
They're not doing this.
Exactly.
To see Lisa trying the hoverboard, the video is up on our Snapchat.
Nice.
I also put
So coordinated.
something up on Twitter for It's Erik Nagel there, where you can see Lisa riding the hoverboard there.
I need to practice more. I feel like I started to get the hang of it sort of a little. I was trying to lead with my vagina mentally.
All right.
And I was just going in circles.
And is your vagina good directionally? Like, is it?
Clearly not.
Clearly not. All right. Fair enough.
She was getting that. She was angling. She had her hands out.
God.
Well, that's up there if you want to check that out. So back to the Paris stuff. Lots been going on. There was another attack today in Mali.
Mali.
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
But
I missed that.
But ISIS wasn't claiming responsibility for that either. So it's not out of the woods yet as far as everything, all the efforts if you've been watching the news, you saw all the efforts of everything going on with France, with Belgium, with us, Russia involved too, about trying to find everybody responsible for what happened in Paris and all the connections that they had in Belgium and what have you. And now this happens. The videos this week were saying that, Washington, D.C. and now New York City are obviously going to be targeted according to these people, which if you live in this world nowadays, it's just a matter of time.
Well, you live in the tri-state area. It's like you just assume that there's somebody who wants to attack it at every time.
Yeah, it's kind of sad and scary.
Yeah.
But
I hate living like that, but it's the world that we're in, where I drive through the tunnel every day, and I always think, I'm like, every time I go through, something can happen here, especially if you're on like Matt comes in through with the train, which goes under the river there, so you're wondering about that. Subways, in the park, in Times Square, which is right down on the corner there.
Yep.
Rockefeller Center is right next to us, so you got to wonder, the tree lighting's coming up. What's precautions are going to be taken over there? So it really sucks to have to live with that mindset, especially going into the holidays, that every kind of group setting that's going on is you got to be mindful and keep an eye out for that. But then on the other hand, you're keeping an eye out for that, so maybe that will deter what could possibly happen.
Yeah, exactly. I've decided I'm either just going to buy one of those really tiny houses that I can just strap on my back and pull out of harm's way, or I'm going to
turtle shell.
Yeah, or I'm going to go out in the Midwest somewhere and buy a commune and just that's it. I just got to get away from the tri-state area.
Well, my friend got last-minute tickets last night and got to go see Billy Joel in the city.
Right.
And she's like, dude, the security was like a 5-step process to get through to just see Billy Joel. She's like, it was insane to get through that.
So I got off at Penn Station, and there's something going on at the Garden tonight. There's always something
probably
going
Billy
on
Joel
at the Garden.
again, I'm assuming.
And I saw, it looked like before you even got inside the Garden, there were at least 3 checkpoints for the people that were online. There was someone walking the line, checking IDs and tickets, and then at the front of the line, there was someone checking it before they let you in the building. And then as I got close to where the line was kind of ending, it looked like someone was checking to make sure before you even were allowed to get in line. And it's just presence. It's all about presence. It's just, they're not really checking anything legit. They're just kind of letting everybody know, hey, we've got an eye.
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah.
It's just to make us feel better.
Yeah, it's exactly right.
Which I don't know if it works
Do you feel
sometimes.
better?
I feel far more terrified every time I see more armed guards everywhere. I'm like, shit, should I be going the other way?
But you know what, though? There was the commissioner in New York, I think, made some sort of statement earlier this week. And it was a really interesting statement. And I'm not going to quote it exactly because I don't remember the numbers. But he said something like, Paris had something like 2,000 people on their watch list, but like only 900 officers. Whereas New York has a couple hundred people on the watch list and thousands of officers. And so our presence is much larger. And so that's very comforting to a certain degree because you're like, yeah, we got this. Fuck it. Right. But then at the same point, the other part of my brain is like, oh, let's not get cocky.
Yeah.
Slow our roll.
Like maybe,
I'm glad we've got more people.
Yeah.
Let's just use those people the right way and not just assume that because we have more people, we're okay. You know,
no, I
so
totally
it's that
agree.
balance.
Like I don't know. I feel like whenever I get to the subway platform and I see more people with guns and machine guns, like I know, like it's supposed to make you feel safe, but I feel I don't feel.
I don't feel safe.
No,
it doesn't make you feel safe that something may happen and the guy's right there with the gun to help you.
No, because I don't. The thing is, it's like, I mean, if you watch like videos of these things going down, it's like there's so many factors that could happen. It's just like another person just firing a gun into a crowd of people that I don't know what their training's like. I don't know if they're going to see what's going on. It's a big, it's a crapshoot. You never know.
Yeah,
kind of scary.
It's kind of like, yeah, I guess I feel more secure because I see them there, but I kind of want to go back to the world that I lived in where I didn't need to see them there.
Yeah.
A whole new world?
That's it.
A whole new, what's the next line?
I take a magic fucking carpet right about
something
now.
point of view.
I probably wouldn't fly it over the Middle East, but I would take a magic carpet.
Well,
no handlebars.
Where else do they fly?
Totally legal in New York.
Hover carpet.
Well, I was going to say, let's bring our previous subject and our current subject together and talk about the guy who was a YouTube sensation where he took the hoverboard with a carpet on it dressed as Aladdin, and he just shows up in random places.
Yeah, brilliant. That guy and the cat dressed on a shark on the Roomba.
That's great.
Chasing a dog dressed as a duck.
I saw that.
You seen that one?
Did you see the Darth Vader on the hoverboard entering the room and just hitting a wall and flying off? Dude, it is the funniest freaking thing. I watched it like 15 times.
What is it?
It's Darth Vader on a hoverboard.
All right. Now we're going to look this up.
Dude, it is hilarious.
Oh, jeez.
It's like one of those 15-second, let's see. Yep, that's
Is that it right here?
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
How is that not the funniest thing ever?
Oh, he was trying to be so badass too.
No, the best part is the best part if you listen when he falls, you're like, fuck.
Oh, does?
Yeah.
Okay. The other video was playing on top of that, so you can hear me. Let's try it again.
Or he's like, oh, yeah, like one of the other videos is like, oh shit, or like, oh fuck. It's so good.
No, they're all about the same length there. All right, I'll put that up online for people to check it out. But this wasn't the guy that I saw.
No, the one that I saw was where he goes through the drive-through.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
Yeah, I feel like somebody saw that prank and they were like, all right, well now let's just make the full actual video version of this and say it was BuzzFeed.
Exactly. It's BuzzFeed creating more clickbait.
Oh, they are BuzzFleas. You were right the first time you said that.
I'm not seeing it.
All right. Don't worry about it. Let's move on to more important things.
What would that be, Matt?
I don't know. There's all sorts of stuff on the prep sheet. Giddle saw some shit go down in his neighborhood.
Right.
Every day.
I got belittled by an old man.
All right, let's start with the old man and go right into Giddle stuff then. What happened to Matt?
So I'm at the gym. I go to the gym in the morning, 5 a.m., early bird. Same group of people there almost every day. And this one particular morning earlier this week, some old guy walked in the gym. I didn't see him there, but I didn't think anything of it. Maybe I'm thinking, hey, he's getting an early start in his New Year's resolution. He's gonna make changes in his life. No, he was there to insult people, apparently. So he walks past me. Yeah, I'm on one of the machines. I'm doing my exercise or whatever, and he walks past me. And then he turns around and he comes back and he sits down on the machine opposite me. And the machine that he's sitting down on, if he's using it the proper way, he should have his back to me, right? So he sits down on it and he's facing me. So immediately I'm in the groove, but I'm like, this guy's going to try to talk to me. And I just don't like to be talked at while I'm at the gym. Like I'm there to work out. That's it, right? And he's
Matt doesn't like to be oogled.
I know what oogles me, I assure you, but
eyes up here.
Yeah, exactly. And, he was admiring so he says to me, I just want you to know you're genetically boring.
Wow. Genetically, was he a scientist?
I don't know, but I didn't know how do you take that? What does that mean? And then and I'm like, so it kind of threw me off my game, and I'm like,
that would throw me off like my existence.
Well, you know the part that really saved it for me, because I think I would have really let it bother me for the rest of the day. But a few minutes later, I saw him walk up to one of the chest press machines, and he started talking to the machine. Not to someone on the machine, because there was no one on the machine. To the machine. He was like talking and then pausing and then replying as if the machine was communicating back. So I kind of was like, okay, he really just took a shot at me, but he's a nutter. Maybe I am genetically
maybe he
boring.
had like an invisible personal trainer who was sitting in front of you who you didn't see, who was calling him weak, and he was like, "You're weak."
Maybe it's like American Horror Story, Matt's gym.
Yeah. What does that even mean? What does genetically boring mean?
Maybe he got some of your sweat and put it in a petri dish.
I seriously don't know how to take that. Like,
Maybe this was the guy that complained about John Travolta talking to him in the gym at 3 in the morning.
Yeah, maybe.
That's more. If you're compared to John Travolta, yes, Matt, you're genetically boring.
Look, if that's the case, I'll take genetically boring. But yeah, I didn't know how to take that. It's the first time I've ever been
How
called
do you even
genetically
complain?
boring.
Like if you were. I guess you can't.
I had no witty
How do you
retort.
tell the gym, like, this guy keeps pointing out that I'm genetically boring?
You know what?
and they're like, well, you kind of are.
Yeah. If it had become reoccurring, I might have said something, but I haven't seen him since. So I'm guessing he wandered in. Maybe someone wasn't at the desk to check him in, and he was just a nutter.
He was just there.
Just there. And I'm genetically boring. So whatever. It is what it is. I'm going to eat my pie now and fuck that guy.
That's it, Matt. Don't let him win.
No.
Don't let him take you down.
I've got banana cream pie. I'm going to be genetically fat
I'm
soon.
going to start using that as an insult to people. Be like, you're genetically boring. They're going to be like, what does that even mean? I'll be like, you think about it. I got to go.
Yeah.
I'm going to get some pizza.
Because you just, much like Matt, you'd ruined their whole day. Because they'd be telling everybody that you said that, and two, they're all trying to figure out, what does that mean? How do you break that down?
Like, Matt has like an extra thumb that just doesn't do anything. It's like, you're genetically boring. Well, you have that extra thumb, but it's really not doing anything.
Is my face not the right kind of... It's too oblong? Like, what is wrong?
Maybe
what
it
is
means like
genetically
you don't
boring?
have wings.
Maybe.
Something like that.
And then he's absolutely correct. I have not evolved past normal humandom.
Yeah, nice tail. None.
Loser.
Nice tail. None. Wow.
Oh, Jesus.
That's awesome. We should get him on the show.
Yeah, I'll book him the next time I see him.
All right.
Hey, asshole, we'd like to talk to you about...
I'm going to get a T-shirt made that just says genetically boring.
Yeah.
And
That's
start
a great
wearing it to
shirt.
cons.
Oh, my God.
No,
that
you know,
could be...
you know what? I would actually sell it.
Matt,
It's genetically boring.
I like
You just
it.
stumbled onto a fucking gold mine, my
Matt,
friend.
we've been talking about some shirts, about putting shirts out.
Let's do it.
Do we need to do the genetically
This is all copyright by
boring
the Erik
shirt?
Nagel show. Just put, okay,
Yeah,
I had to
yeah,
get that out there.
No, it's not, because then SiriusXM. It's copyright by Matt OG.
By Matt OG. That's right. Yeah, let's do it. Genetically boring T-shirts.
If you're listening out there, you want to tweet at us, it's Erik Nagel on Twitter there, or Matt, or any of our own personal accounts. Do the hashtag it's Erik Nagel, and then hashtag genetically boring, and then tell us yes or no. If that's the case, we will make that shirt and we will put that out for everybody.
Nice. I know for sure I'll wear one. So
I will totally wear
Awesome,
one.
yeah.
I'll wear it to family reunions. Like, this is all your fault. Like, how dare you?
All of you, and you just do the big wave across.
This is all on you. And then hobble away.
Failures, everybody. Speaking of Giddles, what's been going on in your neighborhood of Brooklyn?
What do you want to know about?
Well,
There's just
let's see.
craziness that happens every day.
So you have a video of a man yelling. You were yelling at old ladies.
No, there was two old ladies. This was different. I was walking to a supermarket, and there was two old ladies in wheelchairs that were arguing with each other, and one said, "I'm gonna eat your motherfucking ass for breakfast." The other one's like, "I'd like to see you try." And I was like, "I'd like to see both of this go down." You're both in motorized wheelchairs. No, it was just like an insult thing. I don't know what was happening. And then the other day I got home, and there was some guy outside my apartment just screaming. He's like, "Manny, you are the rat god, and I will obey you forever." And I was like, "Oh fuck, I gotta get upstairs and start taping this guy immediately."
Wasn't the Rat God a TMNT character?
That was Splinter.
No, there was a character, the Rat King or the Rat God, or
Was it
that
Rat
was also
Fink or something?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That's what I mean. It's a TMNT character.
It was
See,
the Rat King.
Maybe he's in your neighborhood.
Maybe he was. I have no idea what
Wreaking
this
havoc.
guy was doing. This guy was a lunatic, and he was just sitting outside my window. There's part of the video.
That's the video?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is like towards the end of it, and then I tried to retape him again, but he was high on heroin. I think he was going to shit himself.
All right, well, let's listen to this.
I'm shouting your names all the time. Manny! I love you, Manny!
And then he
Hey, Manny! I will honor your name.
And he starts walking into traffic.
Yeah, he just starts walking into traffic. That guy kept coming back like every half hour or so and just sitting in front of that mural outside my window, complaining about Manny, and then he'd pour out some beer for him or something.
Oh,
Like,
pour it out. Tribute.
At least he's not genetically boring.
No, that guy was genetically enhanced. Like, I need to know what was going on with that guy. He was talking to rat gods. He's got some sort of thing going on.
Jesus.
Yeah, I don't know. There's always crazy shit in my neighborhood.
So, all right, I'm going to put that up.
Oh, and then today I went to the butcher shop because I had to get meat for the chili takedown on Sunday. And so I'm sitting there, and it's like, it's a neighborhood, like a local butcher shop. It's not a crazy place. It's not like one of these hipstery places. It's just one of those places you go to and you wait online for like a little while because you got to get your food because there's one old man who works behind the register. So this lady walks in, and there's like a line of like 5 of us. And she's like, "Do you guys have the 5-pound bag of, grated cheese?" And they're like, "Yeah, we do. We have it, blah, blah, blah. We'll get it for you. You just gotta wait online." And she's sitting there, and I could tell that she just wants to cut everyone because she knows they have the cheese, and she's there, and she has like a kid with her. And then she just starts becoming a really shitty parent and just being like, "Oh, my kid, like, we gotta go," and like trying to cut the whole line here. And then I see her like whisper into the kid's ear, and then the kid started throwing a tantrum in the store.
Oh, wow.
And I was just like, fuck this woman. And then, like she just kept trying to cut everyone. And everyone's like, "No, you gotta wait."
Yeah, wait.
I was like, now, not only that, now you have a kid that you wound up that no one's catering to. So now you really have to deal with that shit. But this is just what happens.
This makes you hate people.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was just like a shitty parent. Because I'm like, the kid didn't do anything. They're just walking into the store.
It's
just
shitty parents and ISIS.
Everything.
That's what makes you hate people.
Ugh. Yeah. It's crazy. That's just my neighborhood. I don't know. It's weird.
Also, tell me about Escape the Room.
Have you never done Escape the Room?
I want to do Escape the Room so
what is
bad.
Escape the Room?
They have it in Montclair, actually.
Okay.
You're very close to where both of us sort of
live. Yeah.
Live. Yeah.
Okay. So Escape the Room is a game that you get, and there's like teams. You go in, you get like anywhere from like 6 to 10 people, and what happens is they lock you in a room for an hour with just random weird clues that you have to solve in order to figure out how to get out of the room.
This is like an actual thing or a video game?
No, this is like an actual thing where you're in a room, and it's kind of like Finders Keepers, where you're like tearing things apart, looking for clues, and trying to solve like word problems and weird math problems. It's like taking the SATs, but having to get out of a room at the end.
Wow.
This is like that app I play called Elevators, where you're just on a different floor and you got to figure out what's wrong with that floor in order to open the elevator to go to the next floor.
It all started from the Escape the Room video games, which were like really popular in Japan, where it was just, it's a room like that, and you have to like click on things like, oh, where's this pencil do? This pencil goes
wasn't a torture film that they had somebody locked up and they just had the little gray camera watching it? And they said, "No, it's a game show." Yeah.
Yeah, it said something Stash Saw. I don't know what happened with it.
No one ever wins the car.
No.
I see Groupons for it, the one locally all the time. I really want to do it. And there's one that I shan't be doing, but you might be interested in it. There's a horror one, too.
There's one in the city that I want to do.
That has there's like a zombie trapped in the room with you or something. Did you see that one?
I would go with one of you guys, but I would not do this by myself.
No, the one they have down on Christie Street, they told us about it at this one we were at, and they're like, it's a 6-person like team thing, and you're investigating a crime scene. So there's like a dead body on the floor, and you have to solve all the clues. Problem is, there's no lights in the room, and there's only 2 flashlights that you could use to inspect the room to figure out these clues to piece the murder together. So I'm like, that sounds kind of cool.
I would do that one. I want to get together a group. Like, I want to get together a group of like 8 people and go do it.
I've done it in a couple, like...
Lewis is in?
I've done it like 4 times now. It's a lot of fun. And every time you go, there's different rooms set up. The last one we just did was a time travel room, so we figure out the clues, and then you have to like time travel, and then they have like actors who just keep going back and forth from the rooms. So they're like, "Hey, weren't you here yesterday? Like at this time?" But it's like, no, we just kept time traveling, and you have to like solve all these puzzles. It's a lot of fun.
Well, I'll do this with you. I feel better now that Lewis is going to be a part, because if things are going to happen to us, according to horror movie lore,
first.
He knows he's first.
He's first. So Lewis will be the buffer, and then all of us can get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
I think I'm in.
All right.
All right. Thank you for volunteering, Lewis.
Yeah, it's fun. Escape the Room is a lot of fun.
We should absolutely do an It's Erik Nagel show, and then we can all report back.
And it's hard too. Like, it's not easy. The room that we did, like, there was only 7 teams out of 80 that beat it.
Oh wow!
And we got down to like the last 3 minutes, but we fucked up a clue.
And so at the end of the hour, if you don't beat it, it's just like, like, is that it? Like, what happens?
They still come through. They come through. They have like people, and they go over the entire puzzle. They're like, okay, so when you walked in, you found this. Okay, that opened this, and then they give you a whole walkthrough.
Oh, so they kind of at least you don't go home like kicking a can, angry that you couldn't figure it out. You can't sleep that night.
Kicking a can?
Yeah, you know, like angrily
That's a clue.
kicking a
Don't
can
kick
down the
the
street.
can,
Oh,
it's a
sorry,
clue.
my bad.
Is that after you play stickball and
It
then
is.
run with that wheel down the street with a stick?
Exactly.
Well, it's funny
As your
'cause
dad rides the big old-timey bicycle,
Yeah,
one
man.
huge wheel, one little wheel.
it's called a penny farthing, Eric.
That's right.
Is it really?
Yeah.
It's
Okay,
called
you
a penny
hipster.
farthing.
Yeah.
He lives
I
in
wrote it
Brooklyn.
here.
Handlebars.
Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely fun. We should all go do it.
I'm all for it. I wonder if we can find talk to the organizers and see if they'll let us record it, like audio-wise, just so we can bring clips of it here on the show.
They may not, because once you do it once, you can't do it again, because it spoils everything.
You don't want to give away
So you have to,
We'll
go to
cut the
different rooms.
spoilers
Yeah,
out, but if there's, if it's all dark with two flashlights and, scary shit's gonna happen, I kind of want to get that on audio so that whoever here screams, that sounds like Lisa and is not Lisa, then we definitely need to point that out on the air.
It's me screaming at a spricket.
Well, they said there was
It's like Ned Flanders screaming when they thought a lady was being stabbed to death.
But they said there's like another one downtown also where it's like a spaceship theme and it's called Nemesis and you're on the spaceship and you have to get it like working again to get back to Earth. And I'm like, that one sounds cool.
I want to do that.
And they said that one's not as much as like the math and word problems as much as it is like figuring out like building things to get out of the room, which sounds cool.
And that's weird because you would think being in space there would be more math and word problems.
Yeah.
Dumb scientists. No wonder you're stranded.
Well, they sent those drillers to blow up the asteroid. Wouldn't it be cheaper to train astronauts
Right,
to blow
and
up an
then,
asteroid?
one astronaut, let the ant farm out, and also the potato chips went flying, and then you're hearing 2001: A Space Odyssey, and
it's terrible.
It's just a whole big to-do, but thank God you have that uranium rod to hold the door closed so that you can get down. Oh my God, I just gave away how you finished the whole assignment there.
In Rod we
damn
trust.
We spoiled it. Oh, all right.
You did it, Eric.
Oh, I apologize. So I guess the whole point is moot. Let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to speak with Kristen Ritter for the brand new series Jessica Jones on Netflix. If you don't know what it is, that's okay. If you don't follow comic books, that's okay too. It's one of those shows like Daredevil, the way they did it. You can jump in not knowing anything, follow along and not be lost and actually enjoy what's going on.
Sure.
All right, so we'll take a break. When we come back, Kristen Ritter.
Sirius 206 XM 103. It's Erik Nagel.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome back to the show Kristen Ritter. Last time we saw you was for Big Eyes, and that was exciting.
That was exciting.
I loved that movie.
Thank you.
Because it was a story that I didn't know about, but I knew that artwork.
Totally.
Like, I've seen that artwork, I'm like, wow, I had no idea there was this whole thing behind it, and got to watch the movie. You came in, and you did great. Jonathan Schwartzman was great in that, too, with the art gallery.
Yep.
And, an amazing movie. But at that time, when you were here, it was just announced that you were going to be, then titled AKA Jessica Jones. And there wasn't so much we could really talk about it because it just came out. Now you're back for Jessica Jones, and I'm going to lay into all my questions.
That's okay. That's awesome. That's crazy. It's less than a year later.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so exciting to be doing a Netflix show where it was like, not a pilot.
Well, all right. One, right. Two, Netflix is pretty much the way of the world as far as TV's going and streaming and things like that. So it's kind of good to be on a series that's on these streaming services much more than a network nowadays, even though the networks pay a lot better, I'm sure, but at least as far as your security and people getting a chance to watch it because they put everything out all at once.
Yeah, and sort of the guarantee of the quality, right?
Right.
Netflix is making like some of the best shows.
They're not rushing into this.
They really know what they're doing content-wise. Like, all of my favorite shows are on Netflix. I'm obsessed with Bloodline. Just watched that a few weeks ago.
Very good.
So good. I love House of Cards. I love Orange is the New Black. Such great character dramas.
Did you see Mr. Show just debuted, the brand new season of Mr. Show?
Was that came out this weekend?
This past Friday.
Yeah, I have not yet, but I will because I'm a huge fan. And I'm excited to see that. And I saw the first episode of Masters of None with the Z's, which is good.
I have not seen that yet, but I've heard good things.
That was the week before. I think that came out like the 6th. And didn't the show... That was this Friday.
There's just so much good
Today's
stuff.
Monday. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We have some catching up to do.
You have a lot of catching up to do, but you're busy right now. You're doing all the press for Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
You are Jessica Jones now. And as far as Netflix not rushing into things, I mean, this Marvel property is coming out today. the next Marvel edition, which is Daredevil Season 2, is not till the spring.
Totally.
So you got to wait a while in between all these. They're all signed and done. People are going to get to see this, but they're taking their time. It's almost Walking Dead-like, where it's like, oh, you're really into it, and then where's the next season? Oh, you got to wait 6 months till the next season comes around.
Well, I
8
guess
months,
that's the thing
like
with the binging, right?
Yeah.
If it's probably the same production schedule, but because everything comes out at once, everyone watches them.
I know.
You can watch a season of a show in a couple of days.
It comes out Friday. By Sunday, you're like, I can't wait for season 2. It's like, dude, it just came out. You're gonna have to wait a little bit.
Yeah.
So this is exciting. Jessica Jones here. Interesting character because it's not. Even Marvel fans are like, I don't really know that character. And now that they've been discovering, thanks to the Marvel app and things like that, going back and reading the stories, they're like, oh my God, I didn't know about this comic. I'm all, in with this character. I can't wait for the TV show. Did you read the comics before getting into the shooting of the show?
Yeah, totally. I read all of them and wanted more immediately. And I called Jeff Loeb, who's the head of Marvel Television Studios. Call him up. I'm like, I read everything. What else is there? And she has some appearances in other places, like Pulse. But she is as developed for television as she is in the comics. I love the comics. I love that the first word is fuck. I love that it's the first adult content. It was part of Marvel Max, which was a totally different thing. And I love that Jessica is
it is not your typical
kids.
world for a comic book.
Right.
I mean, it would seem that just if you read some footnotes on it, you'd seem like, well, this is just horrible and depressing. Why would you want to read this? But when you go and it's a story like anything else, and you go and you read through it where Jessica has some abuse, is a guy, Kilgrave, has a sort of like an ex-boyfriend syndrome to her where he's controlling and ruining her life, and she just can't get past certain things that involved with him. Not for kids, not your typical Marvel stuff here. It's so much stuff, but I'm treading lightly because I don't want to give anything away.
Well, this is a psychological thriller show, which is something Marvel has not done before. Which is exciting for me to be a part of it, because Marvel is a global giant super brand, and they know what they're doing, and the quality is so high. So for them to be venturing into this other sort of genre, and I get to be the first one, you know what I mean? It's I feel like there's something for everybody, comic book fans and Jessica Jones fans, but also this is kind of stands alone as its own, flawed character, psychological thriller, a character study. It's just great TV.
It takes place within the universe of other people. You're in the same neighborhood as Daredevil.
Yeah.
Luke Cage is introduced in this show here, who we know is going to have his own show at some point. You guys have the Defenders right after that's coming out, which involves Daredevil, you, and Luke Cage, and I think Iron Fist all together. So same area, a lot of these stories intertwined. I loved in the poster, which one of them I have right here, in the background is showing Stark Tower. So maybe somewhere in the distance, while all that's going on, they're dealing with big outer space stuff and supernatural. You're dealing with stuff on the street. You're very street level, in with civilians, I guess I could say. You're helping a lot of people out as a private detective.
Sure, but I think for Jessica Jones specifically, I think she's dealing with more personal issues.
Well, that's there too.
Yeah.
But you being a private detective, it was something to do. I'll put it this way: your character didn't know what she was at first, and then found out for a short period of time was superhero, and then after that point wasn't a superhero anymore because a tragic incident happened.
Jessica Jones really wants nothing to do with it. This is more of a story of a totally reluctant superhero. This is something from her past, but so many awful things have happened that she has really shut down.
Right.
She has PTSD. She keeps her world so small. She's part of no social community.
She does not let anybody in. Yeah.
Doesn't let anybody in. Barely even lets her best friend in, because by proximity to her, other people are at risk. And so Jessica Jones is really just a private investigator, so she can make a few bucks. It's the only thing she's really qualified to do. She can work at night, not have to deal with other people. Sometimes her skills are required. Sometimes her gifts are required. She could do them without anybody seeing them, and it pays enough money for her to buy whiskey.
That's what was fun. That was interesting in the trailer too, when they confront that, and she goes, "Somebody's got to pay the bar bill somehow, at some point." So this is what she's doing. Let's talk about, like you said, your relationship, your best friend in the show. she's a radio personality.
Yeah.
But you don't respond to her. Like she's always trying to be more in touch with you, and you're like, she's my best friend, but whatever, I'm kind of busy right now.
Yeah, I think so Rachel Taylor plays Trish Walker, who is a former child star, and the girls have the two of them have a very complicated and complex backstory that is sort of rolled out in series. But it's a very complicated relationship. Without giving, it's hard to talk about that relationship without doing a lot of spoilers, but there's a deep love there. So if Jessica Jones is pushing her away, she believes it's to protect her.
Right.
So it's always coming from a place of pure love. And even though she's so very rough around the edges, and Jessica pushes her away, it's out of a need to protect her.
Okay. Now, her with Luke. There's also the introduction of Kilgrave in the show here. I'm a big fan of David Tennant.
Yeah.
I loved him as the Doctor in Doctor Who. Were you familiar with his role in Doctor Who?
I haven't seen Doctor Who, but my friend is the hugest fan of his ever. And when he heard David Tennant got the part, went into like hysterics.
That's what I was too.
Squealing and freaking out. And when I was retelling the story to somebody else, my friend was like, "Oh, is that what your friend did when you got the part?" I'm like, "No, that's what my friend did when David Tennant got the part."
It was like, "Oh, that's great for you." Wait, you're working with David Tennant?
Yeah, totally. He is just one of the most capable actors with so much range. Working with him, getting a scene partner like that is really candy.
Right.
You're only as good as your scene partner, right? So when you get to work with someone like him, you're always learning and growing and rising to the occasion. So it was amazing, and I think he's gonna blow people's minds as Kilgrave in the show. He's somebody that, there's we know that in the pilot and even the next episode, we know something bad is going to happen.
Right.
Because of the mere mention of him.
I think from everything that I've seen so far, I think this is Tennant's best role since playing Doctor Who, and Doctor Who is obviously his most famous role. While shooting with him, when you guys were done, if you happened to be getting a coffee somewhere or down the street, did you notice any of the fandom for David Tennant, like, surrounding him? And like, oh my God, what is this Doctor Who thing all about that these people are so obsessed with it?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely got a pretty loyal fan base, and people were coming to set to see him. His fan base loves him and would come and just wait for him, and you definitely felt that when he was on set. For sure.
I definitely think they picked the right guy.
Me too.
For Purple Man.
Me too.
Like, cause
he crushes it.
All the teasers, there was a huge presence for your show at New York Comic Con.
Yeah.
There was some mention at San Diego Comic Con, but they didn't have everything in full swing yet. When New York, they had the big display. They had a thing where people could be in the advertisements with the photos on the wall, and his face would come through.
Yeah.
And just the creepy voice that he put through with his accent and everything. I was like, oh my God, this was perfect for his role there. Well, outside of his fandom, what was it like working with David?
Like I said, he was like an amazing scene partner. I was always in awe of his ability to crush a 5-page scene over and over and over and do it a little different every time.
Were you both reading the comics together, like comparing notes, like, oh, I'm up on this issue, I'm up at this part of the story, what do you think, how should we portray these people based on what we're reading?
I read the comics way before we set foot on set. I don't know when, I know he read them as well. He's a big Marvel fan.
Right.
He's a big comic book fan, and I know I don't think he was aware of Jessica Jones or Alias before, because it's kind of an obscure character. But both of us were just so stoked to be there, and like, we definitely thought we were making something great.
What did you feel about the anticipation for this? Because like we said before, it's not a character that most people know or even heard of. Even Marvel fans were like, I don't recall this particular character. But since, and obviously the big push from the success of Daredevil, everybody's been pining for Jessica Jones. And there's been
Have they? I mean, that's cool.
No, there have been. But
that's awesome.
The trailers that started showing a little bit more only came out in recent weeks. But leading all the way up through, con season in the summer all the way from San Diego to New York and everything, people were like wanting to find out more about Jessica Jones, and it was only very tiny little like almost like how Star Wars is doing it, little pieces here and there until you get closer and they started revealing more and more. I'm guessing based on your reaction there, you weren't seeing that everybody's been like really excited for this whole thing.
I don't really know. I mean, I've been working. I was on set, so I don't know really any of that. You're kind of doing these 13 episodes in a bubble, and now the fact that it's being well received and people are excited about it, and the people who have seen it really like it,
right?
And women like it too, and non-Marvel fans like it. It's incredibly gratifying and thrilling. But I don't really know. I'm proud of the show. And so I don't know. I don't know about all the other stuff.
I watched the show with somebody who is not very familiar with the comic book world, and they loved it.
Yeah.
And they're saying like, "Oh my God, this is amazing!" Not knowing anything about the story, not knowing anything about past tie-ins or future tie-ins. They watch it as a standalone,
yeah.
and that's because comic book fans can go into this thinking, finally, there's something, an interpretation of this story that I love or I wanted to know more about. And people who have no idea can sit down and watch and go, this is still a great show, even though I'm not into all of this
Which
stuff.
is amazing. And that's always been my wish for the show. Because when I read the scripts, I was like, this is so great. This is so, I mean, of course, you want the Marvel fans and to maintain the integrity of the original comics. But I always felt like this has so much potential just to be a great, meaty show. So it's amazing to hear that your friend liked it, because that's kind of that's the goal.
No, that's exactly it's great that you're catering to fans, and it's also catering to a mainstream public who's like, I want to give this a shot, and it includes them too. It's nothing that's pushing them out because they didn't read the books or anything like that. The Jessica Jones character, I'll phrase it this way: does the show explain some of the origins of her powers?
Was that in the episodes that you saw? No.
I don't think the origins of it. It was just, here's where you were and life was going on. So I didn't know if it does at some point explain her past.
Well, if it did, I can't tell you.
Okay. All right. So we'll cross the powers question off there.
Well, we can talk about the powers and the way how they're handled on the show, and because this is a very street level, gritty, grounded, very realistic approach to the comic book genre. The powers are handled in a sort of matter of fact, almost secondary way. It's first a psychological character study, and she also happens to have powers, which is kind of how I built the character and played her as an actress as well.
That is a very important part to the show, where when you think superheroes, you're thinking of suits and powers and flying and abilities and all that stuff.
This is so not that.
And yes, this has some of it, but that's not the focus. It's not that you're invincible, you're taking on the world. It's, look, there's a person here, there's some real life stuff going on, and that they also happen to be able to do these other things that helps their life and complicates their life. It kind of mats it down a little bit. It's there, but it's not the focus of like when you would see the Hulk smashing. Everybody wants to see the guy turn into the Hulk and beat things up and break things. This is, she has those powers, but this main thing over here, this is what's important, the story and what's going on with her and her life. When you finished this series, and then you had the Defenders and Luke Cage, obviously, and these other things here, did you expect, sorry, not when you finished it, when you got the series, did you expect there to be such longevity with the character? Did you like that, hey, we're going to mix you into some of these other properties, this is going to keep going and going and going?
No, and honestly, like, I didn't really process any of that until, like, as you're going along, you're like, oh wow, this is kind of a big deal. I was so excited to get the show because I love the part, and the fact that it was picked up for 13 episodes is amazing.
Right.
The fact that it's like 2 shows is really unprecedented in my life and my career. It definitely feels like I won the lottery a little bit.
Well, the Marvel world, especially under the Disney umbrella, one gives you amazing perks, I'm sure, if you went down to Disney World or something like that. But also, there's
for sure. Right, I think I can go to Disney. I could probably get free tickets to Disney. I'm gonna look into that.
Seth Rogen told us a while ago that they gave him this kind of black card at Disney World that got him in through some of the secret entrances.
Okay, who do I call?
That's exactly what I was going for.
Put that on the to-do list.
It's like, you're technically under their umbrella. You need to make a phone call. You want that card.
I want the black card. I've never heard of that. I've worked for Disney before on ABC, so I have gotten to go, Yeah.
You ate at the castle.
I did not. I didn't eat at the castle either. I really need to talk to somebody about the level of perk. I got to go for free, which was fun. But yeah, I need to look into that.
This Marvel world, you're constantly going to be pulled back in a good way because you have all these projects here, and then who knows where the stories go past that? Where sometimes, hey, maybe we might introduce that character into one of the movies, or maybe, into yet another TV show. So as long as you're, enjoying it and still cool with it, this could go on for a long time, being Jessica Jones.
When you sign on to a series, like a regular series, you have the potential of it going for a long time. So for me, I always wanted to make sure it was like my last show that I signed on for a long period of time. Only went for 2 years, but Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23. I loved the character so much creatively. And so the bar was really high after that. And like, okay, I need to make sure that I'm going to be challenged and love this. And with Jessica Jones, I can tell you I would play her until I was 80 because she is the most fun and dynamic and complicated, complex, sassy, badass character I could have ever asked for. So if they want to put me in a movie, I'm down.
Jessica Jones just won't go away. She's in everything.
Yeah, she's starting to turn gray. And
that's a great problem
feeble.
For an actor to have. They just constantly want more of your character.
Yeah, that's amazing. But as you know, right now we're just focused on the first season of Jessica Jones, and I'm getting people to watch it over the weekend. And yeah,
it's on Netflix. Go out and watch it to your heart's content. Here, don't spoil it for anybody. Give it a few weeks before you start discussing it on social media or with your friends or whatever. Give them a chance to enjoy it. As always with things like this, I like to talk to people about merchandising. Have they talked to you about that, like early on? Like, are you going to get a figure, a Funko Pop? Is your face going to be on shirts?
Oh my God,
like
I have no idea. I have no idea. Let's hope. I don't know.
They didn't include any of that?
Well, yeah, I don't know. There's always the possibility, sure.
I would love to see Jessica Jones. You know the Funko Pop characters? Those little ones that
with the big heads?
The big heads with the black eyes?
Yeah. That'd be so cool.
How weird would it be to walk into like a Hot Topic or a Toys R Us or something, and then there's all your figures just staring at you?
I mean, I would love to walk into a Hot Topic and see, because at the end of the day, I'm a Hot Topic girl at heart.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they got that big, I think a fourth of the store now is just the Funko wall.
I haven't been to a Hot Topic or a Spencer's. Like, those are the two stores at the mall, right? Those are the good ones.
Yeah. Jessica Jones is on Netflix right now. You should definitely go out and watch it. There's so much stuff to ask you, but apparently a lot of it's given away. I was trying to whittle it down where I'm like, I don't think this is going to ruin anything, and it turns out that it just might. So I enjoyed what I've watched so far. Now that it's out, I'm going to watch the rest of it and plow through it, and obviously we'll talk about it on the show here. Kristen Ritter, I'm sure you're excited about this. Otherwise, you wouldn't be out singing the praises of Jessica Jones. And
I am. Is that bad? I mean,
did your best friend? One last thing. Did your friend? Did he try? He's like, could you give me Tennant's autograph, or could I get a photo with David Tennant?
My friend met him.
Okay.
And immediately started talking about irritable bowel syndrome because he was so nervous. No. When like the worst possible thing comes out of your mouth.
Oh no!
Yes.
So you might as well just peed your pants and taking the photo.
I think he's still kind of reeling about that. He just talked about the dumbest stuff in front of David Tennant.
Well, now you're going to have that because, of course, like you said, the Bee in Apartment 23, Veronica Mars and Gilmore Girls, and of course Breaking Bad. I think once this comes out, this might be the most recognizable role for you.
Hopefully people watch it, right? I don't know.
I think people are going to watch it, but I think you're going to get people, instead of coming up as like for Gene and Apology Girl, they're going to be like, oh my God, it's Jessica Jones.
Yeah, cool.
Which is a good thing to have.
Totally.
It's Kristen Ritter on Twitter and Instagram, right?
Instagram, I have the unfortunate handle of the real Kristen Ritter.
Because somebody's squatting on it.
No, because I remember a long time ago when Instagram was going to like own all your pictures.
Right.
At that point, my publicist was like, you should get off this. So I did. I quit, and then I rejoined, and they wouldn't give me my own name back.
All those bastards.
I know. Hey, Instagram, could I have my name back?
Well, it's Facebook now. I can't call them.
Oh, okay.
They own it.
On it.
All right, Facebook. Give her the real name. Kristen, thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Hopefully for the defendants when they come when that comes out.
Totally. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Nice to see you again.
You too.
It's Erik Nagel. Erik and Matt will be right back. Sirius 206 XM 103. It's Erik Nagel.
I don't know. I'm so grateful that I never felt that way because I wouldn't have enjoyed my life. the way that I do.
Ladies and gentlemen, Carrie-Anne Moss is here. I'm very excited. Of course, people know you from the Matrix trilogy. I know you from that, but I was a fan of a movie that most people I don't think would be a fan of. I loved Red Planet.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because Red Planet also came out with another Mars movie called, I think it was Life on Mars or something like that. Mission to Mars.
Yeah.
And it was just that summer where the Mars movies were out. But I went and bought the DVD. It's one of my favorite obscure movies that people don't usually reference. So
I mean, I can't remember even what it is. I need to watch that again. Maybe I don't know.
What did I do? What was my character?
Yeah, who am I?
Who am I in that movie? But you're here for another great project for Jessica Jones, another obscure Marvel property that's now blowing up all over the place.
It's pretty exciting. Yeah, Marvel and Netflix have the show Jessica Jones that I'm in with Kristen Ritter. She's the lead. She plays Jessica Jones. She's amazing.
Right.
It's our showrunner is this woman named Melissa Rosenberg. She did the Twilight series, and she's written this just stellar show. The content is really high, and it's not like your stereotypical kind of superhero at all. She's the total anti-hero, hero, Jessica Jones, and
she was a hero, now the anti-hero.
Yeah, she doesn't want to. She doesn't want to do it anymore. She doesn't feel very good at it. She's dealing with PTSD, and it's a very gritty, dark, human kind of story that's pretty intense.
There's a lot of real subjects in there with mental and physical abuse, alcoholism, and trying to struggle working, I guess street level in Manhattan when it's the time where all these other superheroes are going around flaunting their powers and aliens and all this other stuff going within the Marvel universe, and she has some powers, but she's just like, I don't want these anymore. I just want to live, forget about everything, live my life, and just
she's in so much pain that she would rather drink herself to bed. She has to drink herself to bed every night, and then she'd rather walk away, run away, than have to face what she has to face. But she can't, because within her is that superhero. Within her is that person that can't not do something about the injustice of what's happening.
And also, I think it said in the first episode, booze costs money. So she has to work, otherwise she wouldn't be working that job
either. Only Kristen Ritter could deliver that line like that. She's just epic with her dramatic acting, but also her comedy. She makes me laugh so much in the show.
I got to see a few episodes that Netflix gave us in advance, but can you tell me about your character and where it's going? Because from what I've seen so far, your character hasn't really hit the stride yet as far as what's going to be happening.
Yeah, so I play a lawyer. I play, Jessica Jones. I hire her to do my dirty work. And she doesn't want to work for me, and I don't want her working for me, but we need each other. So that's the basis of how I am introduced to the show, and I end up helping her with something very important with this young woman that needs my help, and then that just escalates. I wouldn't want to change this, tell anybody anything that I can't, because Marvel will kill me. But yeah, people on Friday can stay up all night long and see it.
I got to tell you how difficult it is to do an interview for Netflix-style shows where they put everything out at once. Because with other shows, other movies and projects, you can at least talk a bit more about what's going on leading up to the release of the movie or the television show. But since everything's coming out at once, there's a lot of things you can't talk about because it's spoiling right off the bat. It's not something that later on that you can kind of stretch a little bit and people don't put that connection together. Right. You might be hitting on something that they're going to find out later. Now it's like, can I ask this? Can I ask this? Can I ask this? No.
It's kind of freeing for me because, that's my least favorite thing is explaining what happens.
Right.
Right? Like, you want to experience it. I don't even remember everything that happens. Like, I'm going to watch it fresh too. It was months ago. I wasn't in every scene. It's like, it's kind of fun that's part of the publicizing something that I don't love. What's your show about? It's like, could you watch it?
Making sure I get the pronunciation of the character's name right. Is it Jaren?
Well, yes, but I go by Jerry.
Okay.
Yeah, I go by Jerry.
So, I'm trying to tiptoe without giving anything away, but from what you see in the first episode,
yes,
involving your character, interesting dynamic that it's the brutal corporate style personality, but very male qualities as far as your personal relationships.
Yes.
And the way it's portrayed too, as they show you the dynamic of eye contact and just body language, you're like, this could be, this is what a guy would do.
Right. And when they pitched it to me, they mentioned that. That's how they told me about that part of the storyline. Her relationships are we kind of see that in a stereotypical way with men. The older man sort of, going for the hot girl, hot young woman. So yeah, my character doesn't have a lot of integrity in her relationships.
Right.
She's
but that's
she's
business that your character is in.
Yeah. She's not really worrying too much about anybody else but herself.
Did you read the comics?
I did. I mean, my character's not in there, but I did for tone and for I have to say, reading comics are kind of not my thing. I can't quite get it. It's not really. So I looked at everything and loved it, but it wasn't really what I
was expecting.
Well, I need script. I need the story told that way. For me.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Because definitely with the comics, there's definitely things that are in the comics that had to be changed for the television show, as far as even character names, character design, addition of characters that weren't in the comic books there. But that's great that you went back and you looked at it.
Yeah, they gave it to all of us, the whole this big book.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like a welcome gift.
Were you amazed that as far as because the comic book is not your typical comic. It's definitely not for
X-rated.
kids. Right.
Yeah. I mean,
very brutal.
I didn't even know that existed, to be honest. I'm so not in that comic book world to even know that existed.
What was your impression when you seeing that? Because some people have a predetermined concept of a comic book. So when you go to read that story,
I was like, wow, this is filled with so much rich story. And I believe that they've taken actual, pieces completely out of it and put them in there. I mean, it's, and I think they've done a great job of creating that world.
And obviously you're happy with your character.
Yeah, I love
and
it.
the direction you're going.
Yeah.
Like I said, I only saw a couple episodes, but I'm really curious because I'm sensing something's there, but from what I've seen, haven't seen your full development of your character, but I feel something's coming.
The great thing about this kind of thing, it all kind of comes out, you know what I mean, in that 13 episodes or whatever. But it's definitely, Kristen Ritter and her character, that journey. There's all these supporting characters, but.
So, through your career, is it safe to say that most fans recognize you as Trinity from The Matrix?
Yeah.
Are you prepared that this is going to change everything with Jessica Jones? Because this is a sleeper hit. Even diehard Marvel fans were like, I don't know Jessica Jones. David Tennant even said, he's a big Marvel fan. He was like, I didn't know Jessica Jones.
He's so good in this.
He was amazing. I saw him yesterday. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But you're going through all of this, and they're like, I don't know Jessica Jones. They read the story and like, oh my God, this is great. And now everybody's been so pumped and excited for this. I know,
it's exciting. It's exciting.
And it integrates, too, because your character, I think, was announced it's going to be part of Iron Fist when that comes out.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much possibility. I'm just really feeling so excited to be part of it. You're
part of Marvel. You're part of Disney. You're part of everything.
It's great.
As long as they keep writing everything intertwined, you've got this character for as long as you want to do it.
There you go.
Always working.
That's what you want.
The show is out today on Netflix. Download everything, stream everything that you possibly can. Binge this weekend. You're going to enjoy it. But don't complain when season 2 is, because it's going to take a while. So you got Jessica Jones, and then of course Daredevil 2 is coming out a few months after that for everything that mixes together here with Marvel. Carrie-Anne Moss on Twitter. I see that you're pretty active with that, which is great because some people just use it for promotion, but you interact with people and fans love when celebrities get a chance to do that. So if I know you're a Matrix fan, but you're going to be a Jessica Jones fan, you should definitely check out Carrie in the show here. And there's so many things I want to talk about, but I can't. So I'm going to have to wait for the next time around and then go, what happened in this episode and going on with this? And see, this is the problem. It's like you become too enthralled with the show, but it's not out yet. You can't talk about it. Thank you so much for your time, Carrie. I do appreciate it. Jessica Jones, again, on Netflix. Stream it, binge it this weekend. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
It's Erik Nagel. Erik and Matt will be right back. It's Erik Nagel.
And then there were 3. My myself, Matt OG, and Giddles. Welcome back to It's Erik Nagel. 866-969-1969 is the phone number. We got to get rid of all these games today.
Yeah.
We want people to enjoy them for the Thanksgiving holiday, or if, depending on how our mailroom runs around here, you might get it in time for Christmas.
Hey, hopefully.
So we want to give all that stuff away, make sure people enjoy themselves and whatnot. Thank you to Kristen Ritter and also Carrie-Anne Moss.
Yep.
Jessica Jones, the brand new Marvel venture, is out on Netflix now, every single episode, so you can plow through that. We also recommend Daredevil, which is on Netflix as well. You can go through all of that stuff.
Indeed.
We're going to talk to the guys from the Talking Simpsons podcast in just a minute here.
Cool.
But I want to go over, he's been on hold for a while. Let's go to Brendan in New York. Brendan, how are you?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good. How are you doing, sir?
And lady. I'm
She's
doing
gone.
Very well. Yeah, I was interested in how you guys felt about the Marvel Splinter stuff. You know, you guys are talking about Jessica Jones and Daredevil. Any information like Black Panther and Doctor Strange and, you know, personally I thought Ant-Man was a really interesting offshoot to go with. I just kind of thought, you know, maybe you guys could have some, you know, insider stuff or something that I'm not aware of, or why they're doing this sort of angle.
Well, Ant-Man was, I mean, Hank Pym.
Hold on a second. Sir, turn down your radio.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm driving, so it's through the speakers, so
Okay.
I can't listen to one or the other.
Or maybe it's not. Maybe it's the phone connection.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Is that any better?
Yeah, I think so.
that's much better. Okay.
So Ant-Man, Hank Pym, and then eventually Scott Lang. I mean, he's an important part of the Avengers, so I understand, or that's the reason why they're doing him as far as a film is concerned. As far as, and what did you want to know? Why they're doing Doctor Strange and Black Panther?
Well, Doctor Strange makes a lot of sense. It ties into, like, Infinity War stuff.
Sure.
You know, all that. But Black Panther, I'm very interested in the character, but just in general, I've never come across him outside. I'm kind of a casual comic book reader. You know, Infinity War is really where it was at for me. But anything beyond that, it's kind of like I still haven't done Civil War, the original. And I don't know. I kind of want to know where it's going to tie into. And
well, I think, look, Black Panther and Wakanda, where Black Panther is from, ties into like little bits and pieces of what's already happened in the Marvel universe. You know, like the steel for Captain America's shield is vibranium, which comes from Wakanda, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. That being said, Black Panther's another one of those characters that kind of on again, off again, you know, dealt with the Avengers. You know, the Marvel universe, like from the comic books, it's kind of broken out into like groups of characters. There's like the X-Men and the X-Men related characters. There are the Spider-Man and the Spider-Man related characters. And then there's everybody else, which in some way, shape, or form is either part of the Avengers, was part of the Avengers, touches the Avengers. Like, and so like Black Panther kind of falls into that middle category. And then you have like, you kind of have that like street level character, which again, the street level characters are Moon Knight, Luke Cage, Daredevil. Jessica Jones really could have been a bigger character, but but because of the way her character is written, it makes sense. So it's, you know, they're kind of just doing these different niches, that's all, and finding ways to tie them together. I think it's brilliant. I mean, I think it's great.
Oh, no, I'm going to eat up everything Marvel does, and I have. I'm actually out of date. Ant-Man I've not gotten to see yet. But anything else, you know, after that, I'm definitely all in about. Just Black Panther, aside from the vibranium, kind of threw me. Like, I wasn't really, where's the tie-in? But, I mean, it's obviously a direct tie-in where you know, you get the vibranium from, so.
Right, and actually, there's a pretty big tie-in from Avengers 2 to Black Panther. I won't ruin it for you now, but when Black Panther comes around, you'll be like, oh, okay. I totally see like a bit of a tie-in to stuff that happened in Age of Ultron that then kind of cascades throughout the rest of the Marvel universe.
Is that when they reference when Ultron himself referenced where they got the vibranium from and all that, and he ripped the guy's arm off? Or?
We're going a little deep,
too far for the mainstream audience.
But yeah, there's a couple of things in there. You'll see.
Okay.
I do recommend following Matt OG. He's Geek Stuff OG on Twitter. There, he can answer any of your questions, and his other podcast, Geek Stuff, would go a lot further than we'll go here involving all that.
Hit me up on Twitter, Geek Stuff OG, and we can continue this conversation in depth.
Brendan, do you have a copy of Age of Ultron?
I do not, no.
Okay, I'm going to put you
on a PlayStation 4 Blu-ray player.
I'm going to put you on hold. I'm going to send you a copy of Age of Ultron, all right?
Erik Nagel, you're the best. It's the first time talking to you. Thank you so much.
I know, sir. Thank you. I know it's the first time he's talked to us, not that I'm the best. I do want to go... the guys are on the hold here.
Yeah,
so
let's go to them.
We'll get to them, but real quick, I want to do this, and then we'll go...
Are you going to use your
Simpsons
dialing wand to get them on the line?
Yes. To start, press any key. Where's the any key? Craig in New Mexico. Craig, how are you?
Hey, Eric.
Hey, what's going on, sir?
Not much. Hey, I love the talk with Kristen Ritter. I can't believe you didn't have a chance, or maybe didn't want to, but bring up what a pivotal role her character played in Breaking Bad, even though she was only, on for a few episodes. But like the effect of her lasted pretty much for the rest of the show, which was such a great, the way she played it was just fantastic. So
right, I didn't in this interview. I did get a chance to talk to her last year when she was here for the movie Big Eyes. I did speak to her about that. You can find that interview on YouTube under It's Erik Nagel.
Cool. Anyways, so we're me and my two kids are on a road trip for Thanksgiving, and we've been listening to you guys since the beginning of the show. And my 8-year-old son is salivating at the opportunity to possibly win the Transformers game for his Xbox One. So
how old's your kid?
He is 8. I have a 10-year-old daughter and an 8-year-old son. So he's sitting here playing.
Well, sir, it says T for teens. They're not technically teens.
Maybe the T means team for Transformers.
No, it says teen adolescents right there on the front.
If Dad
They're
says
very
it's
stern
okay,
about this rating.
It's okay.
Yeah, we played Battlefield, with the sound on together, so I think he's heard and
he's seen more than many.
He can handle freedom as the right for sentient beings. He'll be all right.
Yeah.
All right, what platform do you have?
Xbox.
Xbox One.
Okay. Tell your son that not thanks to Santa, thanks to Eric and Matt, you're going to have a Merry Christmas when you get a copy of Transformers Devastation for Xbox One.
Oh, awesome, man. Thank you so much, dude. I'll send you a picture with him.
Okay, yeah, just tweet it out to the show account. It's Erik Nagel.
There you go.
I will do. Thank you.
We'll put you on hold and get your information.
Safe journeys.
Now let's go over to the West Coast there and talk to the guys from the Talking Simpsons podcast. Hello, guys.
Hey, hello.
Oh, lots of people there. We got Chris, Henry, and wow, Bob Mackey.
That's it. I'm not the 80-year-old fashion designer, though.
No.
But you have your own Simpsons sound drop, sir. You should be happy with that.
I'm honored. I've always been honored by that.
These guys I found one day. I was saying earlier in the show here, a few years ago, I said on Opie and Anthony that I was going to do all these different podcasts. And one of them was going to be a Simpsons podcast that Giddles and I were going to do with a whole bunch of other people. We were going to do commentary tracks for each individual episode, starting with season 1 and moving on, maybe even doing some of the Tracy Ullman stuff.
We did like 3 lost episodes or something
6.
like that? Yeah.
And they're sitting on a hard drive somewhere. And other things happened, didn't get a chance to do that. And I figured, I'm sure somebody else is out there doing that. I listened to Talk Salads and Scrambled Eggs, which is Kevin Smith and Matt Mira's podcast, where they're doing the Chronicle whatever for Frasier. And I was like, there's got to be a Simpsons one out there. And there are some Simpsons ones out there, and a lot of them are not good.
Yeah.
And Giddles and I just saying random lines and repeating episodes to ourselves here is more entertaining than what some of these people were doing. So I stumbled upon this show, Talking Simpsons, and these guys have their shit together, and I was really impressed because it sounds like a radio show.
Nice.
They have production, they do prep, they have On This Day in History, they have the line of the show, they do all this stuff.
Sounds like they're about to upstage us, so maybe we should hang up now while the...
Yeah.
No, look, we're going to take some vacation time, so they're welcome to come in and do 3 hours. I would totally listen to that.
KBBL.
Nobody else in the United States and Canada will listen to a 3-hour Simpsons show, but I would.
So they accidentally play the Monster Mash and we're all fired.
So I download this podcast, I check it out, and they're on season 2 right now for The Simpsons, and it's a really good. I was amazed. And my buddy Gittles here, who's also a diehard Simpsons fan, I call him up. And as you said, you've never heard me calling and asking if you listened to a podcast before.
Yeah, because I usually tell Eric to listen to podcasts, and I always feel like Eric's like, yeah, I'll listen to it. And then like a year later, he's like, oh yeah, I finally got around to that. But this one, Eric was like, I'm calling you now. I was like, all right, what happened? Someone died? and it's great.
Yeah, it was great. And he went to look for it, and he goes, so I found their podcast. What the hell are you talking about? And I said, why? And he goes, these people are in Australia, and it sounds like they're recording in a bathroom. And I said, what did you... And there's another podcast called We're Talking Simpsons, which is complete garbage. But if you get Talking Simpsons, very confusing. Just Talking Simpsons on there, it's very well done. And I reached out to these guys because they have a popular... another popular show called the Laser Time Show. And it's like our friends from Kind of Funny.
Okay.
And Greg Miller and all of them, we talked to them before about what they're doing with video games or streaming stuff, a lot of fan interaction, videos, all these kind of things. These guys are doing something like that, a little different, but it's in that realm there. So these guys have multiple shows. They do an old school gaming podcast. They do a couple other cool things there. So I wanted to have them on. So we have Chris Antista, Henry Gilbert, and Bob Mackey here on the program. Guys, tell me about your podcast for what I haven't already spilled the beans on here. Tell me about your interests, everything.
No, I mean, you guys are just talking about Jessica Jones. I think we're all on the same level here.
I think you guys are around the same age as us, because whenever you do your This Day in History, they start out each episode with like, all right, this episode aired back in 1990 on this date, and they tell you everything that was going on in the world. And one of them's like, we talked about it the next day in homeroom, and I was like, that's exactly what Gittles and I were doing. Friday morning and then Monday mornings when they switched everything. That was the first topic of the day as school started.
Here's the good barometer is when The Simpsons started, I was exactly Bart's age.
Okay. Yeah, I think same here.
I think 88, right? 89 the show started, so I was 11. Okay.
And I think that's why it connects with all of us so much. Like, you've grown up, you have literally grown up into Homer and probably don't even know it.
No, I know it, and people keep telling me this. And they're like, and I'm like, oh yeah, I did. And they're like, no, it's not a good thing.
Nothing to be proud of.
You like to explain it that it's not just a TV show, it's also a language for us. Like, we communicate in Simpsons references, and we just need an outlet for all of these quotes we annoy people with. Yeah.
So this is what it's like when doves cry.
No, and we were just doing it on every other podcast we do. Like, the listeners had told us that they could count down until they would count down until we would make a reference. Yeah. And then we saw all these other podcasts doing, episode by episode things of other TV shows, and we thought, why we should do The Simpsons. If we were ever going to do one, it would be The Simpsons.
And we're actively trying to take down We're Talking Simpsons, so I'm glad you're helping with that.
Oh my God, that thing was so bad, because Eric's like, yeah, you got to check out this podcast. It's great. It's like 20 minutes, and they're really good. So I put it on. I'm like, this is an hour. They're in Australia, and it sounds like it's in a toilet. Like, this is not what Eric was saying at all. And then I finally found it. I was like, this has got to be the wrong one. And then I found the right one, and I was very happy.
Are you thrusting us into the first ever podcast feud?
Yes. So. Internationally, by the way.
Yeah.
Fuck Australian podcasts.
They're going to send a collection agency after you.
It used to be the Good Simpsons podcast.
So when they do each episode right now, and they're doing something kind of cool too, because right now it's season 2, and they do sort of the Mark Maron thing where they have a certain amount of episodes and then they bank the archive. So like for Mark Maron, you got to pay for his app, but then it gives you complete access to his entire catalog of interviews. But if you're just subscribing on iTunes, you get the most recent 50 interviews that he does. And that's because of server space and things along that line. But these guys are doing Patreon, which everybody's familiar with if you're listening to podcasts nowadays. And their first season, which is the first season of The Simpsons, where that is available there. And it's only like $5, right?
Yeah, $5 and a bonus show, but whatever. 13 episodes of the first season of The Simpsons. We thought it'd be both funny to start with the second season, because people really hate the first season for some reason. It really grew on me.
First season's just weird.
I think they were just because I had Mike Reese on the phone. I'm sorry, in studio with John Lovitz and Jeff Martin, and I was talking to them about something, and they said it was that they didn't expect to go when they found out they got the series. They were all like, "Wait, I thought we were done." So now they're doing a full show, and then when they did that, they didn't expect to go past 6 episodes, and then they got a full season. They got the full season. They didn't expect to keep going. They keep being told that this is all we're paying for, and Fox is just doing this one shot and been over with. So I think during that first season, they weren't really allowed to get comfortable, allowed to figure out their writing styles and the drawing styles, because everything was going over to Korea at the time, to get this down. When they knew they had the second season all laid out and that there was some security, I think that's when they came into their own.
Yeah, because I think they started out with the same animators who did the Rugrats, and it kind of shows
that
ugly style. And they like the third season is where they start to actually look like The Simpsons consistently.
Right.
But it's fun to watch. I like starting with season 1 because you get to see them grow and change, and you can say, "Oh, there's so many firsts. Like it's actually making the episodes longer than we intended because we're just like, well, this is the first Dr. Hibbert. Well, but it's also the first time with Dr. Nick Riviere, or it's the first Lionel Hutz. Like, and that involves an entire conversation.
You can also play bingo with characters who are incorrectly black.
Yeah, I was like going to say Smithers is black, right?
Or incorrectly voiced, too.
That
there's
too.
a bunch of voices in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun to watch the first season knowing the show would never be that popular.
Yeah.
Just being in the context of The Simpsons being everywhere, T-shirts, bumper stickers, toys, just like Simpsons Mania, watching those episodes in that context is really fun.
No one's going to know Lenny has the voice of Moe for like 2 sentences.
Right. And also their voices were so toned down because if you're not aware, Homer was supposed to be a Walter Matthau impersonation, and then eventually Dan Castellaneta, kind of cartooned it up, and it became what it is. But Chief Wiggum too was just like a really deep. He wasn't supposed to sound like who's the old movie actor that he's based on? That guy. It was really
Cagney? James Cagney?
Yeah, James Cagney. It was really a low key, almost Officer Krupke kind of thing, and then all of a sudden that got animated and blew up, and they made it into their own things as well.
Way too early in the season.
Way too low key, yeah. And I think I heard a bit of Jackie Gleason in Old Homer too.
Probably, especially when he was wearing the smoking jacket and did "Away We Go" off to the side. The thing with the first season too is what I don't understand. It's interesting to watch all these little foibles and mistakes, and as they're learning and growing with it. But one of my favorite episodes of all time is in the first season, and I don't know many people that really. I know more people hate the current seasons now than they hate the first season. Is only because it's cool to say they don't like the current stuff now because they weren't watching it. So, it's been on too long, whatever. Might be valid, might not be, but there were gaps where writing changes happen, staff changes happen, and there were some episodes you're just like, what are they doing? But I think they've corrected in the last several years, and it's been on a decent course. Favorite episode is the one where he buys the RV and go camping.
Beautiful. Call the Simpsons, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Really episode.
So yeah, I think my favorite joke in season 1 is just the launching of that rabbit.
That's exactly it. Because the line before it is he's taking a sapling, he bends it down, and he's making almost like
the snare.
The slipknot thing to grab the leg of the animal. And Bart goes, "What are we going to do? Hang ourselves?" And he goes, "No, we're going to catch dinner." And then it flips the rabbit across the entire forest. They're just looking, and then he just turns without missing a beat and goes, "Okay, that didn't work."
We have to ask ourselves honestly, because the show is really cartoony and not totally in tone with The Simpsons, but like how much of this had to do with the Burger King toys that weirdly coincided with that episode?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know there were Burger King toys.
Oh, so Bob, we all did, and Bob whipped them out on the show, and we all fell over in fits of nostalgia. Like, it was some of the first Simpsons action figures ever were camping based. It's based on that one episode.
Right.
And that awesome Albert Brooks performance is hilarious.
Yeah.
Let's go with merchandising for a second. Giddles and I have talked about this a couple of times about the elementary school that we went to actually had that banning of the shirts. And it wasn't for the, a lot of the big outrage was for the underachiever and proud of it, where schools were banning that.
I got in trouble for that T-shirt.
I got in trouble for that one too.
But mine was the don't have a cow man, where he's coming out of the red circle with the ribbon on the bottom like that. That's the one I got told that I can't wear that to school.
I think it was anything Simpsons related. I remember having to bring the note home to Mom when I was in the 7th grade. I think I was, and it was just anything Simpsons related. I had to do the whole turn your shirt inside out.
That's what I had to do.
Because he had this slingshot on the shirt that I had, and it was underachiever and proud of it. He had the slingshot, and they were like, "Oh, it's violence," and blah.
See, mine wasn't. They didn't tell us not to wear it because of the slingshot. They told us we were supposed to have more self-esteem.
Yeah, that's what it
was. Ours was more of like,
degrading
it's too degrading to yourself to say that you're proud to be an underachiever.
But you were genetically boring.
I am genetically boring. That's very true.
So it's okay. You can get away with that shirt now.
You guys have been doing this podcast and not that long. What has been the reaction that you've gotten? One, from fans, and two, has anybody from Gracie Films, Fox, anybody reached out to you about it?
Not to my knowledge. My head's been kind of buried in work. We should probably check on that, because, they do pass through here every so often, because we have a bunch of comedy stuff coming through San Francisco.
Right.
We've heard lots of positive stuff from our regular listeners. Like they really enjoy it, and they like re-exploring these old episodes with us. If they haven't watched it, like they probably haven't put their DVDs in their player in like a decade.
And part of our goal was to kind of allow people to watch Simpsons episodes while they drive.
Yeah. That's, I think the best so far.
Yeah, the clips are so much fun.
Simpsons while you drive. I can be held guilty of that, but not by driving. One of the cool things that they talk about...
Hoverboarding?
Yes, while hoverboarding.
Okay. That's why it's
one of the things that makes this podcast that they do a little nostalgic, because they always constantly talk about taping this on VHS tapes. And I did this from... I don't know what triggered in me, but from that first episode, which was the Christmas pageant episode, I knew I had to tape all of these things. So I taped everyone. I figured out what the difference between SP and EP on the VCR, so that your tape can go from 2 hours to 6 hours, though the quality drops. But you can fit much more, many more episodes on there, and then learning when to pause, like 5 seconds into the commercial, to hit pause, because the tape rolls back, and then right when the Fox promo is playing, and you're like, okay, hit now, because then that goes right into the episode. Figuring out all these little tricks there. And I just would have, my dad had this it's that van that they're all over, like Mexico now, the ones that had the TV and the VCR in it.
Yeah, you did.
And anytime we'd go somewhere, I just would pop the videotapes in there, and that's what I would watch.
You're an archivist.
I hate sounding so old, but I like reminding people that, right before the internet happened, like everybody was talking about Simpsons in person the next day. And if you want to go see it again, there was VHS was the only solution.
And I think the show was designed to be recorded because of all the jokes you had to pause to see, and like some of the more subtle lines you'd rewind to listen to again that you weren't sure were jokes.
Yeah, and I also worked so hard on pausing just the right time. And when I'd rewatch it, if I ever messed up, I would just be like, it would drive me nuts. Like, I screwed it up again.
The sad byproduct of that is that I have memorized like Apple Cinnamon Cheerios commercials that'll never leave my brain.
Another cool feature that they do on this show is that they group together everything everybody always thinks about. We're like, what were all the products that are in the medical cabinet when you guys did Simpson and Delilah, the hair episode?
Gorilla Man Snow Blaster.
Right. And there's like, one guy goes, I wrote down every product that's in the, just from that quick 1 second pause, he wrote down everything that was in the cabinet and then rattles it off. And they do that for a lot of times. Like Giddles and I used to do was we'd pause every time they show the
Googleplex.
The Googleplex. We'd read all the movie titles, and then the posters by the ticket booth were different than what's up on the title there. Like Honey, I Hit a School Bus, and Look Who's Oinking, and Fudge to the Vanilla Egg. Just dumb little things like that. Then there was, of course, there was always an Ernest one, right?
Sometimes.
Yeah, things like
Ernest
that.
goes somewhere cheap.
But they do a great job of compiling all that stuff together.
This makes me feel so much better, because now the next time either of you give me any sort of guff for my toy collection, I can just be like, fuck you, the medicine cabinet and the Simpsons.
Yeah.
That's your fuck. That's your Green Hour collection. Screw the both of you.
So what? I have a bag of hair chow.
That's it.
Plus, all the note taking pays off.
Yeah.
I think we kind of challenge each other to out nerdy.
Yeah.
In the last one we just recorded, we were like up correcting each other, like, well, actually, if you want to text me, like, actually.
Yeah. And my favorite thing to do as of late is to seriously Google the references Mr. Burns makes.
Yes.
Like, did Mr. Burns just reference a baseball player from the 1830s?
The late, great, is it Satchel Paige? No, Connie Mack.
Is that what it was? Yeah. Like, I would look at him like, that would make him almost 200 years old.
One of my favorites where he said, I saw some boxer bare-knuckle box an Eskimo for 30 rounds, and if that didn't last 13 rounds, we demanded our nickel back.
Yeah. Because those are specific to things, and I don't know, I've watched those 1,000 times as an adult. I'm more fascinated by whatever trivia Burns is spewing.
And just to see the writers like fall in love with Burns, Burns just keeps being more and more on the show as it keeps going.
We're talking with the guys from the Talking Simpsons podcast. What do you guys do for a living when you're not doing this? Because, I mean, it's very in-depth, it's very well-produced and well thought out. What are you doing with the rest of your time? You got to make a living somehow.
You mentioned the Kind of Funny guys, and we're in the same city, and we have our roots in working in video games and some aspect of video games. So being dorky is kind of our professional coda.
I mean, I have a day job. I work for US Gamer. It's a video game website, and I also do Retronauts, the classic gaming podcast. But I do a lot of podcasts with these guys. We have a lot of fun.
Yeah, and so, Laser Time, Chris and I just ended up without jobs or between jobs, whatever you want to call it. And we were just like, you know what, we were doing this thing on the side. We should make it a full-time gig. And then we looked to crowdfunding via Patreon to do that. So this is our full-time job now.
Yeah, Laser Time and Talking Simpsons is my full-time job essentially now. But, screw video games, right?
This makes me feel so much better that when all this goes away, I could probably do a podcast and be moderately successful.
Yeah, dude, you should pick out your favorite one and come on Talking Simpsons, both of you.
I would look. I was hoping you would say that. I wasn't going to ask. I wasn't going to ask because
they're on our show. You get the right to ask.
That's in bad form, Matt.
No, come on, form schmorm.
No, so I would love it one day where if we could, Giddles and I could say, if you have Giddles too, we could sync up
both of you.
And just all overdose the nerdiness of and embrace the Simpsons.
It's up to you guys, but you're going to have to pick an episode. I know that's going to be pretty brutal, given that we're still early in the show.
Yeah, we're like at episode 23. We just recorded Bart Gets Hit by a Car.
Oh, that's a great one.
Jackson episode, okay?
Damn it. Wait, I'm the host. I can be on every episode.
Are you really going to plow through every single episode that they made?
As of this moment, we're dedicated to doing it. But
I was going to say until our natural deaths, yes.
Do you guys have like a cutoff where you're like a certain season where you kind of stopped watching all the episodes?
Yeah, probably after 10. I actually, since Hulu added them, I started watching them again. Or I do watch every season.
I cut off I taped them all the way up to season 12, and I think it was after the spring break episode with Kid Rock on it. I was like,
R.I.P. Josie.
Yeah. I kind of like tuned out around the same time, but I wanted to say, like, I was listening to your podcast and you said to watch the most recent Halloween Before Halloween episode, Treehouse of Horrors one. It was actually a pretty good episode. I definitely agree with your guys' analysis that it was like a classic Simpsons episode with Lisa and Homer.
I think the consensus, though, is up to season 9 is considered like the acceptable range of good Simpsons.
Yeah.
I even expanded. I'll go to at least, not to at most 12 when I say the golden era. You know what? I don't even include the first season as a golden era. You're right, now that I'm thinking about it, but it's like 2 through 12. I'll say that about there is when I know people started checking out. I watched every episode. I've still been with it in all the years that it's been on, but, and I do admit there's times where you're just like, oof, it's bad, but in the last few years I've seen a lot of, clever writing, old school feel, sight gags, background gags that you don't catch, and, I think they've sort of realized, like, if we're going to go this long, we better go out the way that, that we came in.
Yeah, I do wonder how much longer they're going to keep it going, but
30.
I think that Halloween of Horrors really showed that they can find new stuff to do, and it was a really touching episode. It got kind of the heart that I was missing, and like when I would come back and watch a season 15 episode.
A Mr. Bergstrom episode.
I mean, Mr. Bergstrom is the best.
Oh, right, yeah. I do think the cast mortality is creeping up on the show. Like, they have to accept that these voice actors can't do the same performances forever. And, of course, Marsha Wallace died last year, right?
Right.
That was last. Yeah.
She played Edna Krabappel. She's also the secretary on Bob Newhart.
I mean, the whole thing with Harry Shearer that happened in this year, it just shows you how kind of it makes you wonder, like, oh yeah, these guys won't, they can't do it forever.
Yeah, but I'm a huge cartoon fan, so I do root for, like, I mean, even stupid Flintstones stuck around for 4 decades, like, well after they outran.
That is true.
Yeah, they outstayed their welcome. So there's no saying the Simpsons can't appear somewhere else.
We'll be eating Springfield Pebbles in 20 years.
No, it's going to be like that Don Hirschfeld intro that they had from like this past season, where it's like 50,000 years in the future, and it's just like Simpson, Homer, and no one's going to remember any of the jokes.
I do love the idea. I love cartoons for that reason, because they can exist forever as long as people are still interested. Yeah. And I am still interested in Simpsons, even though I have like a decade blank spot of
same here
episodes.
No, I think I worry someday it'll become like the Muppets, though. Just like if I hear a Homer that's not exactly Homer, I'm like, it feels weird to me.
That's the biggest. But, you know, Harry Shearer sounds super old nowadays when you hear it.
I also think it's because he doesn't care that much.
No, you can tell he's on Periscope a lot, just traveling the world, talking about anything but what he does for a living.
He's Harry Shearer. He's kind of earned that right, hasn't he?
He's into weird jazz infusion and stuff. And I mean, great, he has other interests, but, you know, you're not getting, you know, thousands of people on Periscope watching you because, oh, look, you're, you know, you're dining at some fancy restaurant over in France.
He's Harry Shearer. He's a legend.
It was a bummer to feel like he was that ready to walk away from the show, though.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
There's no amount, I guess, when you've been doing it so long, there's no amount of money you can throw in. You said, no, dude, I'm done with this.
Simpsons for the next 3 generations.
For sure, yeah.
Download the Talking Simpsons podcast on iTunes. Go to lasertimepodcast.com. Check out the Lasertime podcast that they do, and their old video game podcast. They have a whole bunch of stuff there that you might check it out, and you might like it. Guys, thank you so much for coming on the show here. We'll definitely take you up on your offer to do an episode with you when we can sort all of that out. Any other plugs you want to throw out there?
Oh, yeah. I do another podcast called Retronauts. It's been going for about 9 years now, and we cover classic games.
Wow.
Go to retronauts.com. Retronauts like astronauts. You can find all the episodes there. Just search for it on iTunes. And I think if you like video games, you'll like that podcast.
Yeah. When I heard you guys talking about comic books earlier, and I am a big comic book nerd, too, and I host my own comic book podcast that these guys come on as well called Cape Crisis. So.
Okay, cool. Real quick, with your classic video game, do you ever cover Zach McCracken?
No, but I've had the opportunity to interview Ron Gilbert, who created Maniac Mansion and Monkey Island a bunch of times, and he's a great guy.
I love Maniac Mansion. Is one of those games that I still, anytime I see merchandise, I buy it. Doesn't matter how good or bad it is, because there's never anything for Maniac Mansion, especially Zach McCracken, which was built in the same people program that game. That is my all-time favorite game, and nobody ever does anything with it.
You do talk a lot about LucasArts stuff on the podcast, so I think you'll like it too.
Okay, good. Cool. Well, if you ever do Zach McCracken, give me a heads up.
I'll be sure to do that.
All right, guys, take care. Thank you so much, man. LaserTimePodcast.com. Check out all the stuff they're doing and download the podcast.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
All right, take care, man. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. That was good.
Yeah, that's cool.
Even I enjoyed it, and I'm not a huge Simpsons guy.
If you listen to the podcast, it's built like a radio show. It's really very well done, which is surprising because a lot of times you think podcasts have to be either NPR or a comic doing it. But when you find ones that aren't in those realms and you're like, this is very well done, then you start telling everybody.
I've been doing a
about
podcast for a long, long time. I know what it consists of.
You have? What's it called?
Geek Stuff. Every Thursday, new episodes. BKGeekstuff.com.
I haven't heard of it. I'm going to have to check it out. How long have you been doing it?
10 years.
Wow.
Man, that's like vintage. I should start listening now.
Old school.
No, everybody check that one out as well.
This week in 2005.
So they made it.
Yes.
Team Ashen is here.
Yes.
And let me make sure
there are some people here. You can hop on too. Come on. Sit down. Join us.
Matt, you can do the introductions while I set this up.
Sure. So we have Britt Bliss with us, right?
Yep.
And Paul, Ray.
Yeah,
is that what it is? Perfect. From
the guy no one cares about.
No, come on, we care about you. Of course we do. I brought you guys on. I mean, we've been talking, Paul, kind of on Instagram for a bit now about you wanted to come up, and we've been trying to work something out, and we tried to get something maybe around New York Comic-Con.
Hold on, the headphones not working?
I was stupid.
What did you do?
He was stupid, but it's okay.
What did you do? No, what did you do?
I was trying to turn around the headphones and didn't realize that you had to flip them.
Okay.
He's had a trying evening. They've been trying to get here since like 4.
Okay.
She doesn't have anything.
Okay. You talk, I'll take care of that.
But we tried to get you guys in closer to New York, but that unfortunately didn't work out. And then obviously we have New Jersey Comic Book Expo coming up this weekend, so I was like, that's going to work out, hopefully.
Tomorrow, yeah.
So really, why I wanted you to come in is because Erik, despite how many cons he's been to, 1.5 million at this time, every time he comes back from a con, he's like, oh, I saw this stuff. This is exactly what I love at the con. This is what I didn't like at the con. And I don't get cosplay. Like, at all. I don't get it. And I'm like, I don't understand what's not to get. I don't understand. I don't understand, like, what the motivation behind it is. I don't know how you get into it. And I was like, well, this is a great opportunity to bring you guys on to maybe educate Erik on cosplay.
I get why guys like it.
Okay, fair enough.
If the girls are involved, there's some nice outfits, but of course, as we know, cosplay is not consent.
That's correct. Very serious.
So I get it. And for the attention is nice, and everyone wants to take photos and pass you around social media and everything. What I don't get is from we'll start with a female perspective. There's a lot going into those costumes. It's not easy with the wear and tear, the transportation, and the guys constantly pawing all over you. I just don't know why. I get girls want the attention, but I don't know why they would go through all of that just to do cosplay.
Okay, well, for me, it's not about the attention. The reason I cosplay is because it's me bringing my favorite characters to life, like comic book heroes. Like, I'm the biggest Captain America fan you will ever encounter. Like, I'm going to marry him like yesterday.
Okay.
So for me, being able to create Captain America was my way of saying thank you for making this character. I love him so much that today I'm going to spend my day embodying him. I'm also a big Star Wars fan, so I made my own Darth. So I have my own Sith character that's an original concept, and so that's my way to live as Star Wars, to be like into that whole world, because there's nowhere else that I'm going to be able to walk around with a lightsaber and my cloak. Like, that's just not that's not really acceptable.
She went to a wedding like that.
Well, I actually thought about spending a whole week at college dressing up as my different cosplays, just to try to get a reaction from people, to educate people about cosplay.
Well, you have to be careful with colleges, because they don't care that cosplay is not consent.
I know.
Bad things happen.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's just my way to kind of say thank you and to live out those worlds. I actually don't really experience too much disrespect on the floor, which is actually really nice. It's actually very pleasant to be out there. It's one of the best atmospheres I've ever worked in.
Now, I know you guys have a booth. For example, you had a booth at New York as well, did you not? Oh, no.
No, New York, we were just walking around.
Oh, you're just walking around? Okay. So, I mean, how drastically different is the experience then? I'm thinking at a booth, you probably see less of the disrespect because people are going out of their way to find you, and they're coming up and they're appreciating what you have. Mm-hmm. Whereas on the floor, it's unfortunately could be anything goes.
Yeah.
I mean, is that one of the reasons that you have the booth as well? Is it kind of to get away from that a little bit, or is it just?
Not for me. I have a pretty dedicated fan base, and so by having a booth, it does make it easier for them to come find me. But aside from that, I mean, if I leave and I go to see a panel, I'm going to run into people anyway. So the booth isn't really like a sanctuary per se. It's more of just a unique meeting place, like, hey, I'm Britt and I'm here. It's just kind of a nice way to be able to meet with people to where they know exactly where to find me whenever.
And just because we have a booth doesn't mean that, like, people aren't going to disrespect you. We've had it occasionally.
Yeah.
But
I personally have never had an issue, not one, and I've been doing this for almost 2 years now.
So you're walking the floor, you've never had, if there's a crowd of people, somebody's, grabbing you inappropriately? Not once.
Not once. And I've been to several shows.
That makes you feel kind of good, like there's some decency left.
Yeah. I know.
I mean, obviously.
Well, you start feeling bad because what was it, like 2 or 3 years ago, all of a sudden those signs went up all over New York Comic Con, and you're like, what the fuck's going on here?
Well, because it actually didn't even start as a big problem at New York Comic Con. It actually started at San Diego and Reed Enterprises, who runs New York Comic Con.
I didn't see that in San Diego.
It's hard to see anything in San Diego.
No, but I didn't see the signs.
So what I'm saying is the company that runs New York Comic Con kind of saw the social outcry for the problems that were being that were taking place in San Diego and decided to do something about it and put up those signs, and really they put it on their website and they built a whole policy around it, and I think they did a good job doing that.
It was America's Next Top Model, who was Adriana, something like that.
Adrian Curry?
Yeah, Adriana Curry.
One of her friends got groped.
One of her friends, like the guy literally went in her pants and grabbed her ass.
Jesus.
And she
beat him with her whip, and I applaud her for that.
Absolutely.
Well, if you have the weapon, use it.
I think she was Catwoman that day.
It was like stuff like that. Like it's like San Diego had those kind of problems where people were just like, it wasn't even just like the little like taps or like grabs. Like that was just rape.
Yeah, basically. Look, walking the floor, I've been to San Diego. I go to New York every year. I've been to some other cons. Walking the floor, it's inevitable that people are going to bump into you, knock you over. They don't care when they have a place to be. So cosplay kind of just adds. I think to some people, I think that it adds that invitation that doesn't actually exist. That's the whole concept behind cosplay is not consent. It's not an invitation.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the beautiful thing about being a Sith. I can walk through there with the most extreme bitch face and nobody goes near me. Like, I'm Moses. I part the waves and everybody's just like, all right, I got this. I'm gone.
That's clearly one I should not mess with. I should not mess with her.
I'll turn on the lightsaber and people are like, cool.
Like, oh shit.
Now, doing the cosplay, if people are going to do it right, there's a lot of money that's involved with it. You know, there's a lot of time, there's a lot of patience with designing your character, and the costumes, and especially if you're one of those that has props like swords and spiked shoulders and what have you. So a lot gets invested into this. One, how much time do you have to put into it for a major event like New York Comic Con or something like that? And two, then what kind of money are you spending to make these costumes?
Well, that kind of varies. It depends on what you're going to do. Like my Sith took a decent amount of time because I had to design the cloak from scratch. I had to design the corset from scratch.
Right.
And I built everything up. So
that's got to be costly, right?
Yeah.
With the supplies. And since it's not like you can go spend $75 and it's already built, you got to build it yourself.
Exactly. I think like corset supplies alone are $60. The cloak was like 8-10 yards of straight up wool. That was not cheap.
Just buy some sheep.
Does not breathe.
But yeah, the time process, like it takes me about 40 hours to make a good corset. So that's a work week for most people to make one part of the costume. But it's so rewarding once it's finished. It's just.
Look at him.
But I mean, not
he doesn't get it.
I know.
He still doesn't get it.
But see, here's the thing: not everything takes that long. Like my Squirrel Girl did not take that long. The tail took an hour to make. The bodysuit actually only took a few hours to make itself too. The hardest part actually was like the fur one piece, and that was only because I had to modify a pattern because it's not stretch material.
Now, do you get hired to do this?
No, not really. I started doing it because I loved it.
Okay. All right, so that comes from the right place, I'd say, for doing this stuff. I do see people that sometimes you see their costumes, whatever, you take photos and you tag them on social media, and then they write to you with a link to their stuff and, other cosplay. But then you're seeing that they're being paid to do this, and it's not just to promote a movie or a video game or a toy line or something like that. There's people who professionally do this who travel to every major con around the United States and Canada.
The old term used to be booth babes. That's what it used to be. That's what it used to be.
Kinda. That's a different thing. Like booth babes are basically booth babes are basically like models who have no idea what was going on, are paid to be there and paid to dress up. They didn't make the outfit.
Oh no, absolutely.
They don't know anything.
Yeah.
Like what we do, we actually we're guests at a lot of the cons and stuff like for example, New York or New Jersey Comic Con and everything like that. They're bringing us out, even though we're kind of local. She's not.
I'm not local.
So that I think is a little bit different than what like the typical booth babe is.
Right.
But a lot of people confuse that. A lot of people still think it's like, oh, well, you're just a booth babe. You have no idea what.
I totally appreciate what you guys do and some of the other cosplayers that I know, and I have some friends who do it. And I have a friend who does it, and I see the work that he puts into. As a matter of fact, he does Captain America, and he makes his own shields.
Nice.
And I mean,
that was one that you showed me at Comic-Con. That thing was insane,
man. His shields are insane, and the amount of work that he puts into making them detailed and battle damage. He's got 6 of them that he's made, and he's modified them with magnets so he could stick them to his back. And he just, that's not his job at all. He just does it because has a passion to do it, and that's his. It's his hobby / passion.
That's a lot of time, and I'm sure a lot of money goes into doing all that.
It doesn't necessarily have to. Like, it depends on who your character is. Like, if you're Daredevil, that's a black shirt, black pants, and and a black piece of fabric to go over the top of your head. That's it.
So it's the ISIS outfit.
That's kind of. But yeah, like, there are certain characters that just really don't take anything. Like Punisher, like basically any street level character. You want to be Luke Cage, just walk around in a yellow shirt and jeans. That's it.
But as a compliment to some cosplayers, and not meant to necessarily be derogatory to some other cosplayers, there are people who could throw together Daredevil quickly out of their closet, and then there are people who still take the time to make that black outfit look really good. And there's still some skills and time that have to go. There's a difference between professional and amateur, or casual and amateur or professional. You know what I mean?
What I'm just saying, I was just counting that it doesn't necessarily have to cost like hundreds of dollars for an outfit. Like, you can literally throw something together in your closet. I mean, you guys had Kristen Ritter here.
Yep.
You want to cosplay as her, you just go to like Forever 21 and you're
black jacket and
you're
set.
And I was thinking about this, and I was like, I go to cons, and I think I've only tried cosplay like once or twice, and I'm like, so from that angle, I'm like, I don't think I could actually do it. But then I think to myself, I go to Ren Fair every year, and I've been going to Ren Fair for 15
dress
years.
Up for that.
And every single year, I refuse to go if I'm not dressed up. I've worked events, I've spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars on garb, I've made pieces for my pirate garb, and it's like, okay, so I don't do it at cons, but I do it at Ren Fair. So I guess I have a little bit of the bug. I'm not comparing myself, but I understand it. Yeah. Very cool.
What was the first outfit that you made, and like what made you get into cosplay?
Okay, I think the first outfit I actually made was Len from Final Fantasy X2.
Nice.
And oh gosh, okay, so I've always been immersed in this culture ever since I was little. I mean, I think the moment I could pick up a Nintendo controller, I was playing. So I'm more on the gamer side of this whole spectrum than I am anything else.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Let's determine what age group she's in. What Nintendo controller?
The original.
With NES?
Wow.
Yeah.
You do not look...
Oh, thank you.
You don't look old enough to know that system.
Yes. Super Mario Brothers 3 is my jam.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I love
that. That is the NLBL game.
Pipe Dream, come on.
Yeah, man.
Warp
Pipe
whistles.
Skate or die.
Yeah.
Learn how to crouch down on the white block and run behind the scenes.
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game was good, too.
Mm-hmm. That was not good.
That was an excellent game. What are you talking about?
The arcade version?
Yeah.
Okay. The arcade version, yes. The Nintendo version, no.
is terrible.
Okay,
Nintendo version's horrible.
I like the Nintendo version.
Was the Nintendo version the one that was just like the Ghostbusters version, where you just kind of drove around the map?
Yeah, you kept touching like electric seaweed in the sewer and dying. And
but it wasn't like it was Battletoads.
But it's better than All Your Friends Are Dead. Good night.
Yeah. I mean, it's not E.T., but
right.
I thought it was terrible.
I even like the Simpsons game, too. I played that one a lot.
Those are hit or miss, too, because Virtual Bart is garbage. But Bart vs. Space Mutants, not bad. The Simpsons arcade game is
Simpsons arcade was good.
Yeah.
So did you go as Samus? By any chance?
No, I haven't done that. I have a few cosplays in the works. Like, I think the next one I want to make is Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman.
Okay.
Nice.
That one's, I think, next that I'm going to try to do. I'm kind of wondering.
That's a good version of Catwoman, too.
I know. It's like
you can add Samus to the list there.
We'll add Samus
somewhere down for New York Comic Con next year. You have enough time to build it because Gittles, I guess, is requesting Samus.
Well, she was saying about NES games, so I was figuring maybe Samus costume. I didn't know where she was going.
No, I honestly, I try to keep everything in range. Like, I do movies too. I created a swan from the movie Black Swan, but I split it down the middle. It's black on one side and white on the other.
Oh, nice.
And I split the makeup too, and I had to make all of that from scratch. I think the only thing I didn't make were the tights and the shoes.
So you're doing this, the whole cosplay thing, there's a genuine interest in it for the characters that you love. You're doing this for fun. You're not making a living off of this, right?
Well, this is kind of what I do. I mean, I'm considered a promotional model, I guess you could say, but I'm also in college full-time.
So you're cosplay for hire kind of deal?
Not really. I mostly do it because I love it. Honestly, if I didn't make a dime doing it, I wouldn't care.
Okay. So you would do it whether you were making money or not. Okay.
Yep.
The money's nice.
I'm sure it is, but that's
whenever you can turn a passion into a check.
Definitely.
It's nice.
I think that's where I'm having the hard time separating it, because everybody I took, doing interviews on the floor and stuff, and that I've talked to, were hired by somebody, and they weren't promoting a booth.
Right.
They weren't promoting a movie that was out or anything, but they have these really lavish costumes that a lot of money and time goes into it, but they're hired to be there, and then you go and look like I said, you put it on social media and they would tag you back, so you'd see what their stuff, and you'd see that they're every con around the country as each one goes. They're at WizardCon, DragonCon, San Diego, New York.
Look, I mean, there's a difference there, but
that's making a living, and I think that's where I'm getting confused with the people who actually enjoy doing it.
You could sell prints and stuff like that, but it still be a passion. I mean, there is a line, and there is a difference between a model for hire versus someone who is cosplay who's making money from doing that. I mean, now, do you design for other people as well? Like, do you sell pieces for other people, or do you keep it just for yourself?
So I've actually had a lot of requests for corset commissions, but I am so terrified that I'm going to make something for somebody that doesn't actually work that I have turned them down every time. It's so much easier to screw up my own stuff and try to fix it than to try to make something for somebody else, because I'm a bit of a perfectionist in that whole area. So if I wouldn't make something that, I thought was absolutely pristine, there's no way I would sell it. So at this point, I'm not.
I thought she was going to say, if I wouldn't make something that I wouldn't want my daughter to wear.
I hope she wants to cosplay. She's actually expressed some interest in it. So
very cool.
One quick thing with the corsets. You do see those booths at the cons, and they really rape you price-wise on those things. Oh, God, yeah. Because some of those were a few $100s. I'm like, it's a doily. Yeah, exactly. It's like, except some of them look like a bent wire hanger to support, and very cheaply made products, and they're charging a few $100 for these things.
To be fair,
and they're not even leather.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, if I were to charge, keep in mind that my materials before I even buy fabric and put in my time is $60 right there.
Yeah. Right.
And that's just.
And if you're putting in 40 hours, like you said earlier, right?
A regular, yeah. So it's. Honestly, I think that corsets should be made for each individual, because mine are perfectly made to fit
That's
me.
A great job.
Yeah,
Tailored
to
the corsets, personal fittings.
But yeah, honestly, the prices are totally reasonable. If you were to go commission one privately, that's about the cost of what one would be.
But they look horrible. Like, at least the ones I see on the floor, because I've seen other ones that they do in movies and period pieces, and the ones that the people who do invest for the costume. But then you see a lot of garbage out there, just like in anything.
But that's like any. That's like anything. I mean, I think costume making or prop making is just any other enterprise, and you obviously have high end, and you have middle of the road, and then you have low end that you're charging middle of the road high end prices for. I mean, you see that in every art spectrum, I would think. And since it's really an art form, I mean, that's just an extension of that.
Well, I mean, the price is also going to depend, like, what kind of boning did they put in? How big is the busk? Is the busk thick enough? How many layers of fabric are in it? Makes a huge deal.
I didn't realize we didn't take that last break. So we are in overtime. I do apologize. So we got to get out of here.
Okay.
Let me get the plugs and everything for check out everything with Team Ashen. It's Team ASHEN on Twitter and Instagram. They're constantly in touch with a lot of people who do different kinds of cosplay stuff. They're always updating everything. Brit is at Brit Bliss, BritBliss on Twitter and Instagram. You can see all her costumes, and I also see that you're a WWE fan, because I saw you in a Paul Heyman girl shirt.
I am.
We'll have to talk wrestling. Maybe get you back in here next time and do that. I think we covered everything. Is there a website for that too, for Team Ashen, or is it just mostly social media?
It's mostly social media.
Okay, there we go. Matt, plugs?
Geek Stuff OG on Twitter and Instagram. Geek Flea is tomorrow. New Jersey Comic Book Expo is Saturday and Sunday. Of course, Team Ashen's going to be there, so stop by their booth. What's the booth number?
We don't have a booth number. We're in Cosplay Corner.
Oh, okay. So there you go. Check them out over there. And I'll be there on Sunday bouncing around as well. So if you're there and you find me, come and say hello.
All right, Giddles?
Giddlebase on the Twitter and Instagram. And this Sunday, I got a chili cook-off I'm competing in Brooklyn. So if anyone wants to come out, there's going to be 30 different chilies. Eat it all, and then Monday, it'll be fun. Then with that, I gotta go.
Go to Netflix for Jessica Jones. It's out now, all the episodes. Thank you to Kristen Ritter and why am I spacing on her name?
Carrie-Anne Moss.
Thank you very much, Carrie-Anne Moss, for there. Thank you to the guys at Talking Simpsons for coming on. LaserTimePodcast.com to find that podcast and all that other stuff. Next week is Thanksgiving, and then the week after is our holiday beer show.
That's
Everybody
right.
is on board. Everything is locked in. We'll post that information on It's Erik Nagel on Twitter. Also, we have the Jessica Jones and the rest of the video games to give away. Follow us on Twitter this weekend. We'll give them out there as well.
Huzzah.
So that they all go to good homes for the holidays.
Yep.
All right. It's Erik Nagel on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. And, of course, SiriusXM On Demand.
Snapchat.
I think that covers everything. No, fuck Snapchat. That's it until December 4th.
That's right.
We'll be seeing you. Bye.
It's Erik Nagel. And that's all the time we have. Follow the show at It's Erik Nagel on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Unless we do something stupid or something better comes along. We'll be back next time here on